Get them all the time, every Friday. Well, yeah, I had told him that he shouldn't be in communications because I'd have to recuse, but we can do it again in the public hearing. Right, but he could put him in the record, so he'll ask you guys what all you want to do. I gotta be out of that equation. They can give some advice on what you guys wanna do to. Yeah.
We'll wing it.
All right, it's 5 o'clock. I'd like to welcome everyone to Town of Shenango Town Board meeting. Would you join me in the pledge of allegiance, please? Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Warden?
Here.
Mr. Simonis?
Here.
Mr. Hulbert, or Mr.
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Hulbert,
Here again.
and Mr. Lumpkin.
Here. Mr. Clerk, communications.
Yeah, I have quite a bit of written public comment to read for the record concerning the Bodek rezone. And I think the best time to read that would be when we open the public hearing, unless the board prefers that I read that now.
I would like to have it during the public hearing part because people aren't here, right?
I agree.
Okay, everyone in agreement to that? Mr. Clerk, raise your speaker just a little bit on your thing so I could hear you. I couldn't hear you good, thank you.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on to open forum. Guests shall speak in an orderly fashion, are limited to remarks of 5 minutes or less. The speaker shall deliver their comments or concerns in a civil tone without the use of profanity, personal attack, or other disruptive behavior. The speaker shall not be interrupted except in a matter of urgency. Would anyone care to speak tonight? Here, yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm getting altogether with last. To the board, just want to update you guys. Yesterday, TrueView, who's our camera company, decided they came in unannounced into the highway department to implement new orders that were put out by the town supervisor. Not sure if the board is aware of this. I don't know what's going on, nor do I care. I'm just trying to get to the bottom why they were there at ours. Those orders were to eliminate some of the abilities on our cameras that were inside certain offices and community room. And at that point, the guy told us the only office that would have access to all cameras would be now the supervisor's office. Totally agree, don't have no problem. The great concern that I have, from my point of stance, was when this was implemented back a few years ago, the town board authorized this to do it for safety reasons, that the safety was a safety concern. And that's my main concern, is if something's going on over here, we have the cameras to notice it. We don't monitor them all the time, but if something happens, we're not running blind over here, vice versa. If you guys, something happens over there, it's notified, we know what's going on. We'd like to get the first line. My concern is it's happening, why, and if it is, can we know about it ahead of time? It looks like to me, appears to me, that this now has become safety concern, but maybe more of watching over us or something else throughout. Not trying to make a problem or anything. These actions should be done, and I would have expected somebody to email us at least so we could be prepared to be there in case they came in to do it for us. Therefore, from this point on, until the board decides what they would like to do with the camera system and over in our facility, we are gonna turn it off and have it turned off at this time, just so you guys know, and so that the people in the work in this building know that we have no access or no way to watch them, or see if anything's going on under our concern for safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to speak? Okay, moving on, we're gonna go to 5.1, ordinance interviews. Do we have first one on the list was Kyle Doyle. Is he here? Okay, the second one is Keith Struck. He called the office earlier today, he's severely sick, and he asked the board to consider giving him another opportunity to speak, but he's way under the weather, didn't want to get everyone sick. Is there a Jacob Abbott? Cole. Pardon?
Cole Abbott.
Cole, I wrote that down as, okay, Cole, I'm sorry, my mistake. Go ahead, sir, tell us about yourself.
My name is Cole Abbott.
Is that on? Is it? Okay, I could,
Is it on?
You have to be real close to it.
I'd just be really close
I
to
can't.
it.
Can you hear him?
If you don't mind.
The pack might be better.
He might be able to sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sit right up
If
here
you
at
wanna
the
sit
table.
down and just
Sit
talk
right
in
here.
that microphone.
Is it working?
That was not on.
Oh, that wasn't on?
I can
Okay,
hear it now.
go ahead.
My name is Cole Abbott, and I'd like to apply for the code enforcement officer's position.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I have a 2-year degree in construction management at Alfred State. I have been working in construction since I was out of high school and a little bit during high school. About 4 years in home remodeling and outside home remodeling, and about a year in heavy highway. I worked at both our, which is right down the road in your guys' district here. Did work all the way down 81, up 17, and I've been working at Kiefer Randall for the past year and a half. On top of that, I'm also a fireman, and I believe that the safety of the public and the safety of people who go into your homes when it's on fire is paramount, because buildings are inspected and structures aren't inspected properly. While they catch on fire, they deteriorate rapidly, and I'd like to prevent any more tragedies like we've had recently.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Doyle? Or Abbott?
I do. Cole, you know this is a department head position?
I was told it was for just an officer's position.
Just code enforcement?
Just code enforcement?
I'm asking, did you know this was a department head's position?
I didn't know it was for a head position.
Okay, so you filled out the application for code enforcement, just as a code enforcement officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any of the state certifications to be a code enforcement officer? No. You currently actively looking at doing any of that, or?
I can.
Okay. Do you, any other jobs, if you had any other leadership positions?
Management position when I was in high school at Sweeney's Market, and I've started to work on leadership positions at the fire department.
Right. And even at the fire department, you know, if you've entered people's properties, you ever dealt with an uncooperative property owner?
Yes, I have.
Give me a little description of how you'd handle that situation.
A recent situation, we had a call for a campfire in a backyard.
Yeah, the specifics I wasn't interested, it's just how you would handle something like that with someone, and
We just have to deal with both parties equally. We cannot deal with them as we're siding with one party more than the other, and we have to civilly take care of everything and cooperate with the public and both members of the said situation.
Anyone else have any questions?
Could you repeat where you said that you're working now and what you're doing?
Kiefer Randall, and I'm a carpenter apprentice.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
Kiefer and Randall about a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Mr. Ward, Mr. Dave?
I just got a few questions for you. Why should we hire you?
I believe the safety of your public is paramount to anything above the quality above what the company is going to give, and I feel like the companies in construction focus more on their money side and dealing with making the buck when they are dealing with structures and having to hook up structure properties and members and make sure that they are going to last in a fire or over 30, 50, 100 years. I've seen a lot of newer construction builds that don't look like they're going to hold up past 10, let alone if they were to catch on fire, go through storm damage, as we see just recently. I'd like to prevent that from happening in the future.
Any questions, David?
So I just have to understand, like, you thought you were interviewing for a code officer, not a department head, is that correct?
Online, it said code enforcement officer.
Okay. So, is that a problem? I mean,
Well, you don't have your certifications as it stands, right? You're looking to get on board somewhere and then take your training, is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, sir.
which is,
Not gonna,
yeah.
that's a different issue. Okay. Any other questions for him?
I don't have.
I don't, no.
No, I
but
don't.
Thank you.
You good? Thank you for showing up. We'll consider it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. All right, we're gonna move on to, well, what does the board wanna do about the two that didn't show up? The one called in, he's sick. You wanna reschedule them other two, or? I heard nothing from the Doyle, Keith Doyle, but I did hear from Strout. What do you guys wanna do?
What do you mean you heard nothing from Doyle? Was he contacted to come for an
Yes,
interview?
he said he
Did-
was
Oh,
going
he said he
to-
was
he
coming.
said Jody, he had told Jody he would be here.
Okay,
And now, he could have called her at the last minute, but I was not notified.
I think she would have told us.
Yeah, I think she would have too. So, you wanna schedule maybe on the future agenda for the next meeting to see if we can get the other two gentlemen, so we can get an assessment?
I do.
We're surviving okay? another-
Seems,
for
we
another
seem
2
to be
weeks?
right now, yeah.
I would say as long as we're rolling along, put them on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay. We'll make a decision then. Of some kind.
Well,
Gene?
I know that when we talked about doing these at the last meeting, I had asked for the interview committee policy to be distributed, and that got distributed yesterday. So I think if we're gonna move forward with actual interviews, that we should be doing them in accordance with that policy.
And there was a discrepancy from what Miss Jody found and what you had, correct? I heard that this afternoon when I got in here. She said there
Different
was-
issue.
Pardon?
That was a different issue.
Okay.
That was relating to the,
Public
a
hearing.
different policy.
Okay.
But the,
And I read that policy, and we interviewed department heads. Right? Isn't that the policy that you sent out?
yeah, this position was for a department head.
Right.
Yep.
So we would be interviewing for department heads, not necessarily code enforcement officers.
Correct.
And I thought that was the point of what we were doing.
It
It
was,
it
but
was.
but I had to tell you that there's I understand the confusion on it because of the title that we have to fit into a shoehorn because of the civil service title issue. And that's, so I understand the confusion. But the advertisement for that, for for that did include the description for the department head, but they had to have that. You know, and it was clear that the certification for the code enforcement had to have already, they had to,
Been there.
had to have it for that. So if we could have the discussion about putting the interview committee together and doing that, then we could have those interviews done before the next meeting, if we were gonna move forward with it.
Well, if we're gonna, you're confusing me. If we're gonna do a department head, then the board is going to hold that. That's the point of what we were doing here. If we're gonna just hire a code guy, then you're gonna have an interview committee, correct?
Well,
No,
No.
no, because our policy for interviewing and hiring a department head is to interview shall be conducted by 2 board members
Right.
and the administrative assistant.
Right, but I thought at the last meeting,
last meeting, we did
That's-
say the
that's-
entire board.
that's
We had
my
that
point.
discussion.
But we didn't have
no,
that.
No, we had that discussion, and that's why I asked to have the policy.
policy.
because-
Understood.
Now you
But
know
I
what the
agree with
policy
you. This,
is.
the policy does say at least two
Right.
members.
Right,
Okay.
not at least.
Oh, I'm sorry, it does. It just says two.
Right. And the distinction between that portion of the policy and any other position is that it's the department head, 2 different department heads, and the administrative assistant. If it's for a department head, then it's 2 town board members and the administrative assistant.
Right. And there's also the procedure on the applicants and how they're received.
Yes. Yeah, so, we only had 3.
We had three.
Three.
So we should get them, the town board decide which ones we're gonna interview, the interview committee, conduct the interviews, present us with the information and all that at the next board, at a board meeting. I just think we should be following the policy.
We should. I agree with following the
Okay.
policy, because clearly we're not there yet.
So who would like to be on the committee?
I would.
Okay. Anyone else?
What was the part about we decide who we're gonna interview?
Well, we got 3 people.
Right,
what's-
so we're,
what's-
I'll read that for you,
Yeah.
Dave.
Yep.
I got no problem with all 3, but
It said that the interviews shall be conducted by 2 board members and the administrative assistant. Candidate selection and pare down shall be conducted by the town board. So if there's 7 applicants, we all look at them, which 7, which 2 do we want to interview? That gets passed on to the interview committee. They conduct the interview, compile the data, the research, make a recommendation back to the town board with the supporting documents of why that candidate was selected, and that's the discussion.
so are we gonna pare them down tonight, or this all waits till 2 weeks from now?
The way that I see it is that we've closed the application period, so we only have 2 candidates that are there. So we choose to either do 1, 2, or reopen it up. And if we choose the 2 that we've got, then we can just, the interview committee can meet anytime between now and the next meeting to interview.
I say we do interviews with the 2 we got. Pick a night, one of them shows up, we pick that one. So, I mean,
Well,
it's not that
it is and it isn't, right? Because we're looking at the qualifications.
Right,
We're
right,
selecting a
right, right,
department
right.
head.
Look for a
Out of the 3 candidates we have, only one of them meets the qualification criteria.
Right.
well, I thought 2 of them did, just the one of them did? I thought 2 of them had licenses.
Let's,
Yes,
I'll do the interviews if,
Yeah.
okay.
unless you want to do them. Do you?
No, I think that it'd be best if I didn't.
Okay, that's why I was just checking with you, because I know that you have a lot of background in it, but I'll do it with you.
I didn't see where the other candidate had the qualifications.
Okay.
If I'll look at that again if I missed it. But out of the 3 that I looked at, I only saw one that met the criteria.
The second one, right, has the qualifications. Is that what you're seeing, Mr. J?
Yes.
I guess I'm a little confused. These were vetted by civil service, correct?
They were vetted by civil service to determine if they met the qualifications for the building and code, building and code
Officer,
officer.
not
No.
building inspector, correct? Isn't that what we're looking for?
But the civil service is also attaching the qualifier on it that there is a time period in which they can get and obtain the certification. So to meet the qualifications for that, they've met the qualifications with the caveat that they have the time to get the CEO certification, and that's a separate issue than our requirement for that position that have
Exactly.
already had the CEO certification.
There's the difference.
But I was confused. I thought there was two different titles. One we had to use for department head, and
Yep.
one was just for the code official, code department official.
Yes.
And that's where I think the confusion is.
It was, but we don't interview the code official. We interview
We
department
do,
head
one board member would be involved in that,
for the code official.
I believe.
But we're talking about department head.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying, is the department
the
head was, I
difference.
thought, from what I saw last time, department head was building inspector was what Broome County was using for its job description and the job requirements.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I'm just saying, if they were sent under that title, building inspector, who would meet that criteria to be interviewed?
That's what we have to do. We do have to determine
Exactly,
that.
because
Yes.
it's civil service, and if we don't follow that, then we're not following the policy, and we're not following Broome County's civil service policy.
What do you wanna do?
If they do not have the CEO certification,
There's no sense in
I
interviewing
don't want to interview them.
for a department head.
Right.
Well, we have somebody in there right now that's already hired by the town that doesn't have it, so.
But they're not.
But they're
But that's
not
what I'm saying,
department
so
head.
why would we interview somebody else that doesn't?
Right, we're
That
looking
doesn't
for a
have it.
department
We could just
head.
put this person in
Yeah,
as
exactly,
department head.
exactly.
Exactly, that's what I was getting
Yes.
at.
Nope.
I agree with you, that's what,
So if there's only one qualification, would we not bring that person in to interview?
I have no objection to interviewing the person with the CEO certification. And if there's nobody else on the list, then we go through the process. If we believe that that person is a satisfactory candidate for that position, then we can have the conversation about hiring them. And if it's not, if it's a recommendation of the interview committee that they're
Right.
not a good fit, then we open it up again. That's where I think we should be at right now.
Agreed.
I agree.
I'm fine with that.
Good?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So,
So,
let's
let's
go ahead,
finish
Jay.
this. Yeah,
Go right ahead.
send it.
Kevin will contact,
Kevin?
get with
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
she'll get you the numbers,
Yes, we'll
and you
reach
guys
out
will
to Mr.
arrange it
Sturrock.
for the next meeting.
Yes,
Well, we won't, Jody will do it all. We will set a time when we're available.
Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
you
we'll
gotta
let
let
Jody
Jody know.
handle,
Yeah,
Jody
yeah.
handle all the communications and set up the interview.
Exactly.
Yep, that's fine.
So get with her when
Yep.
you guys are available.
Yep.
And we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting,
Yes.
okay? Excellent. We good to move on, gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, 5.2 time clocks. I gotta get there. So Jody received a couple of these quotes, you guys see them. Comments, ideas. I don't know how she arrived at any of this, but she called and got what you see. I stayed out of that process.
So the paychecks is a computerized system? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, I
And it's-
believe so, yeah.
And it costs around $1,600 a year? Is that, do I have that right? They had something like $134 a month.
Yes.
For 15 units, yes. Originally, when we talked about it a year ago, they were gonna do every employee. They're not doing that now. They'll give us the break at 50 units.
Are you sure that's the case? Because I think I remember that being like the issue where it was probably quoted the town hall number of employees, and then when Paychex was like, well, how many people do you actually have
Well,
employed at the
I
town?
know Jody said she had extensive conversation with them. I just saw this afternoon when I got in here, so I can question her tomorrow about it. I mean, they're giving her a quote. What do you guys wanna do? You wanna have her explore that more, or what's your thoughts?
Like the DPW, they have a system similar to the punch machine or the card machine? The same one?
Yeah.
Does she have any problem tabulating the payroll off of that system, or?
Well, the clerks in my office do all that, and then they send that to Jody. But Jody doesn't calculate our employee.
That's,
We just send a timesheet to Jody.
Yeah.
And she utilizes that. Same
Which-
with other departments.
But your staff is doing okay with it? I mean, they wish it was different, or?
No, I mean, the employees weren't gonna, the guys in the field weren't gonna change not using a time clock. It was just that the two clerks in the office were gonna utilize a time clock or stick with what we've been doing, just using the file. More paychecks. That's,
Yeah, my preference is to use the time card clocks and not the payroll system. It's a one-time purchase, it's there, we can do it town-wide, and it's the same process.
That's what I lean for.
pardon?
I lean for the time clock.
Okay. Mr. J,
Fine
Mr.
with
Go?
that.
The highway's different.
Yeah, the
Highway
highway's got a
has
different
type
system,
of time
correct?
clock. Time, but it's still a punch, it's a punch system, but it's different. Oh, you do?
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Oh, I thought there was different.
All right, I'm on board then.
We'll have a time clock with a card, so it's gonna be the same scenario.
It's just a different,
Different manufacturer?
okay. But
But however that works out to get them to one system, process it all in so that we've got one system is what I'd want.
so how would we go forward with this? Because so the way it looks like now is each department would process and still send a sheet up to Jody to do payroll. I think that's just, should it still be done that way, or should it all be tallied up in the payroll office?
Payroll office,
What?
the payroll office.
So
I
the-
would think so.
So the time cards themselves would be gathered up and given to payroll?
Yes. We still have the process with the timesheets and all that other stuff that's gotta get filled out, cause that's the paper documentation. That's the verification on, the control that, one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we had was, the timeliness and all that, and accountability on who was in, where they were, and things like that. So it's for me, it's still two processes. You take the cards, you're still getting the information from the department heads or the individuals.
Okay, so then the cards are gonna be filled out by the department head. The cards are gonna go to the department head, they're gonna fill out the timesheets, they're gonna go to, I just didn't know there was gonna be an
All of
extra
it would
step
go
in
up.
there.
All
And
of it would go up.
originally, you
Okay.
were gonna put a time clock mechanism in different locations,
Right.
correct?
Yes, yeah, we were gonna put a clock in each each area of the department, and where it was convenient.
Okay.
And that's what the number of the time clocks were selected for.
So how would you like to move forward? You wanna have Jody do it? You're gonna do that by, you gotta allocate funds for this.
Yeah, so if
Do you
she,
make a
if she
motion?
gets, if she gets the final quote together with how it was presented, put it together for a resolution for a future meeting coming up, and the next meeting or the meeting after, so that
Okay.
we can get them purchased and get them installed.
Cause we already went through this one. That's what I'm saying, it's gotta be somewhere. We already went through this, where, how many time clocks we would need and.
Right.
Yes.
Right, so she'll call the place, get a current quote.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine with me.
So I'll tell her that tomorrow.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, nothing's gonna change with my clerk doing the guys in the field, plus their own, on the timesheet, then you're sending the timesheet and the time card to HR. Correct?
Your clerk's time stamp now,
No, we've been using the fob joystick to track.
but so your clerks will timestamp
Correct.
now.
So
And
but they're still doing the timesheet and sending it up.
that would be my understanding.
They would collect the timesheets, the cards from your employees out in the field. They take all that with the sheet and bring it to the HR.
It's basically backup information for
Yeah,
the sheet that
it's
they
just
fill
be
out.
filed
It's
away.
gonna stay the same way that we currently are doing it, that's all. They're just gonna keep track of themselves with their time card. That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
You agreement with that, gentlemen?
Yes.
Mr. Albert, Mr.
I-
Jean?
I am, I would just like to say that if there's a hiccup with something that's really seriously not wrong, that, you know, one of the department heads brings it to the town board to see if there's something that we have to tweak or something, but to use that as the policy going forward.
Okay. All right, can we move on, gentlemen? Sure.
Yes.
All right. 5.3, building condition study, RFP review.
We'd like to push this another 2 weeks. I do apologize. I've been in the field for the last 2 weeks, water breaks,
Water breaks, I
sampling.
know you have.
I haven't had a time to actually look at all of these, so, on my end.
You gentlemen okay with that? We push that off to another meeting?
What does it do with the advertisement for bid requirements for the award? Do we have to adjust times? Are we gonna violate that and have to go back out to get new proposals?
Do you have it handy? I don't either.
I don't know that answer off the top of my head, Gene. I'm gonna look it up. I don't know that we gave a time. They may have put them in their own proposals, though.
Well, I would suggest that if there is an issue with the proposals expiring before we can meet, then you need to reach out to those proposers to get them to agree to an extension in writing. If not, move forward with getting new quotes. But I would like to have all the backup documentation, if possible, for the next meeting, all the supporting documents and a resolution prepared for that, so we don't have a discussion and then go out another 2 weeks for a decision.
Absolutely.
You good with that, gentlemen over here?
Yes.
Okay. Nate, you good with it too?
Yeah.
Okay. You can get.
Yeah, I'm putting the resolution together.
All right. We're gonna move on to good to move on?
Yes, yes.
5.4, wastewater treatment update. Mr. Burden.
These are just payment applications that were sent to me, and we're putting them on the agenda for the board to see.
Questions, gentlemen?
I have none.
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 Okay. We good to move on?
Yeah.
All right, the next one is Bodek, but that's at 6 o'clock. We have some time. Pardon? Yeah, I'm gonna go to new business. The letter of no objection, Shenango Commons, gentlemen.
Where'd we end up with that?
Well, did we ever find out if it's a real obligation for us to have to do this?
Yes, it is. The guidance I looked at indicates for them to be able to get this, basically additional events, the local municipality has to provide a no objection letter.
I have no objection to it.
I don't either.
I'm okay.
I'm
Devin?
fine with it. I just
M-
wanted to
Mr.
make
Jean?
sure.
Yes.
So what do we have to do to? I didn't hear, someone said.
So they're here, the.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, just, hang on for a second. What do we have to do? Do we have to make a motion to authorize the no objection letter?
Well, the town's policy is
is
that you
a
do everything
resolution.
by resolution, so if the board is inclined to authorize a resolution of no objection, I can have that drafted for you.
I would make a motion to have the board write a no objection letter for the Commons for their events.
I'll second.
Discussion.
None.
I have none.
I have none.
Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Warden?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holbert?
Aye.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Aye. We'll get it out to you as soon as possible. As soon as he gets it to us, we'll get it mailed out. All right, you're welcome, ladies. All right, where are we, Kevin?
7-2. New business.
Camden, 7.2, thank you. I gotta remove this. Mr. Burden,
So what you have in front of you, two things. One is I got a contract for a 6-month operation for the wastewater treatment plant to see what it would cost to operate per month. You'll see the price there. The second document, I broke down for the town what it would cost to have our own operators, what we're currently operating at, and what it would cost for Camden to do full operations of the wastewater treatment plant. So I color-coded them gray. Number one is obviously the cheapest way to go is if we had our own operators. I've reached out to the union several times with no reply as to allowing me to offer the third-year rate to try to get an operator at what we've put in the union contract. So currently, if we were to look out for our own operators, we still would have to offer the $27 and change that's in the union contract. What you see in green is what we're currently doing at the wastewater treatment plant now. Camden is doing all our operations, sampling, and just a little bit of daily operation at the plant. Those are the three costs for the town employees that go down there and do work as well. A little bit more money than would it be if we had our own operators. Third is a full operation of the Camden Group. Quite a bit more than what it is if we had our own operators, but we are not having any luck finding our own operators. The current staff that we have down there now is burnt out. They don't want to work there if they don't have to. If they had to choose between water, sewer, or parks, they sure wouldn't pick sewer, from what I'm understanding.
Greg, what do you mean they don't have to?
What do you mean? If they don't, they would prefer to work in the water or the
Not what I
parks.
asked.
Okay.
There's a lot of discussion about nobody wants to work there, nobody ever can't do it.
The gentlemen that are there now do not want to work in the sewer treatment part of the town of Shenango.
So what?
I understand that.
Now, I'm asking a question, do they have the right to not work there? Do they have the authority to say, I'm not going there, or do they go where you direct them?
They go where I direct them.
Okay, that's all that I wanted to know for the conversation.
Yep.
but the current staff that we have, are any of them, apparently not, but I want you to answer this
Sure.
question. None of them are willing to go get certified.
The only one that's able to get certified has not been able to pass the test, multiple attempts. And he's expressed that he does not want to have it. The other two that go down there do not have the time served in order to qualify.
To even
To
take the test.
to take the classing to then be able to take the test. There's only 2 town employees currently today that can qualify to even take a test. And one is the head, other than myself, one is the head groundskeeper, but he does not have probably the time served there in the plant. The other one is the one that's currently down there who's not really interested in taking it again. Then we have to look into who's gonna sign off on them. Is a company that we pay to run our operations going to sign off on somebody that's gonna take over for them? That's a concern as well.
If they trained under them, you mean?
Correct.
Why is that a concern?
Because then they would be out their contract of operating the sewer treatment plant. If if we were to hire our own operators, we would do away with Camden Group. If our employees got the license, they would need a signature from Camden Group, who they worked under, to sign off that they're qualified to do it.
Right.
Then we either pay our own operators and keep Camden Group, which doesn't make any sense. Why would we pay an extra $200,000 when we have operators? So then Camden Group would go away. Are they willing to sign off on our own people, knowing that they're going to lose $200,000? That's just a slippery slope currently.
I don't see it as a slippery slope. We're paying for a professional service. If our need and our want is to train our guys to do that, that's the whole purpose of it. I don't see that as an issue.
Okay.
But is Camden obligated to stick around saying, I'm not gonna train your people to take my place, so I'm out of here altogether?
No,
They're
no.
under a contract
They're under-
for a year,
We have a contract with them, so they're obligated.
just for that contract.
Just for that 6 months, or whatever.
So,
Yeah.
so
It
Greg,
takes 2 years, they gotta work underneath someone with a license.
Correct. More if they're not college educated.
So then we would have to try to get into a contract with Camden Group for a 2-year hitch to get our people trained, hoping that they pass.
I don't wanna get hung up myself, I don't wanna get hung up on this issue, cause this really isn't the hurdle that we've gotta get past. I mean, that's a business issue and a contract issue and a discussion that is way in the future, because right now, we don't have the people to do it. So, because the current staff isn't qualified and doesn't wanna do that work, the town is now in a position where we have to spend money to supplement that with workers
Correct.
to do the work. So that's really where I'm sitting right now. This 6-month contract, plus we're all in the discussion about doing a feasibility study about where the whole town is gonna go to. So, you know, I really don't wanna get bogged down into
No.
a discussion about whether or not we're gonna have a contract dispute with Camden, because we don't have any idea where we're gonna end up, where our goal line is.
I agree. I think that's irrelevant at this point. Greg, just quickly to remind me, how many operators does Camden supply each week?
2,
And then we supplement that with 3 of our employees.
correct. Two full-time, 1 as needed, we'll send them down there to fill it.
Okay.
Because we only have 5 currently today, running water, sewer, and parks.
Okay. So the contract that you sent would eliminate the need for the part-time and the 2 full-time of the town employees?
It wouldn't eliminate the employees, what we would do is just bring them up here to work in the water and the parks.
Let me rephrase. It would eliminate the need to have them at the treatment plant.
Correct.
So instead of trying to fully staff and get 2 or 3 more people, you would use the group that you have
Correct.
if you subbed it out.
Yes. Normally, we have 7 employees running the 3 departments, which is feasible.
And you have 5 right now.
Currently, I have 5.
And the union did not get back to you on allowing you to advertise for a higher position?
I've done this for 18 months with 2 union stewards and the same union representative with no letter in hand to provide to the town board or Nate. So,
So I want to fully understand this. The union is refusing to allow you to go to the next level of pay for someone to be qualified at that sewer plant.
I can't say that they're refusing me because they didn't give me anything, saying that
Okay.
they're refusing.
All right.
I'm just saying that they have not given me any documentation, which I've asked for
And you
to be
need their-
able to.
And under the contract, you need their permission, correct?
According to, we've asked this before, and Nate said we need their permission to offer that 3rd year, yes.
Or we can fill that position and they can grieve.
That's
As
an
far
option.
as what?
You could hire rate of pay that would be expressly in violation of the contract, though. But yes, you could, and they would then grieve it, potentially.
And the cost for this 6-month contract because they don't wanna do that, that cost is what from Camden Group?
The 246.
246,000, 41,000 a month.
That's the third one that's in blue.
Yes, sir.
So the town is gonna incur a 40% increase in labor cost, or in service cost.
If we went that route, yes. We would save on overtime. Overtime, currently at the sewer treatment plant is 95% of the overtime that we have. We'd save some there.
Well, I'm just looking at the aggregate numbers. You've got 172 to do it in-house, there's
Yep.
246.
But we're not currently doing it in-house.
What's that?
We're not
Right,
currently
but we're not
doing it
currently
in-house.
doing it.
Understood.
Yeah, okay.
But that's
Yeah,
what the
yeah, no,
cost
you-
would
but
be.
Yeah, those numbers are right.
Yep. So,
If we had to qualify people, that's where the 174 comes in, correct?
Correct.
yep.
Qualified people at the first year, second year rate?
That's at the third year rate.
At the
We
third
have
year.
not had any luck with the first year rate.
So you put the numbers together with a third year rate?
It's in, yes, correct, yes.
Okay.
I utilized those numbers that were in the contract, I gave them to Jody, got the labor burden, those are the numbers that I used.
What do you guys wanna do?
This is 100% cost add.
To fully implement from doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Say that again, what?
It's 100% cost add.
And what did you
Yes.
say, Jay? I didn't hear you.
Yes, I agree, it is.
Okay.
It is. I think the struggle we have is being able to attract and retain operators.
Correct.
And I'm not sure, you know, I haven't looked at it, but from my past experience with some of these operators, it's gonna be hard to attract them away from private companies
Correct.
with the pay rate that we're offering.
Agreed. What is offered today is not the same as what it was offered yesterday. The retirement's not the same.
Yep, no, I
So on.
understand that. I'm just saying that, that's part of the challenge.
Correct.
It's real.
Yep.
And, you know, the unfortunate part of this is, you know, we can spend all that money training our guys
They-
and giving them all kinds of incentives. It may be difficult to retain them,
Yep.
Agreed.
because I do think this is a high demand position,
It's happened in the past.
especially with all the requirements that have been added by the state.
Yes.
And have you looked at a rotation of the staff? I'm looking at what's in green for the current operating.
Right, as the augmentation to the Camden operators.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a $10,000 difference between what we're paying
Yeah.
now and what we're gonna be, the 236.
I totally understand that. I was just going with the numbers that we currently have. Through,
Yes,
612.
you know, but if there, you know, the overwork, you know, the burnout stuff, I mean, that's a reality that needs to get addressed and resolved.
And I'm not saying that this number in blue couldn't be adjusted as well.
Adjusted up, down,
I mean, we wouldn't go up. I mean, they can offer it higher, but that's,
Are
We
they
wouldn't
using our
accept it.
equipment?
we can.
Is this with them using our equipment?
Correct. Correct.
But Greg, I think looking at a rotating staff is not a bad idea. I mean, because if we don't, that's a $132,000 annual
We-
increase.
I've rotated
You have.
guys in and out.
You only have 5 now.
Mike can attest to it. I've had,
Yeah.
one goes down, one comes out, one
Yeah.
goes down, one comes out.
Yeah.
I
So
can,
you're still
I-
only working with a 5-man crew for all of it.
Yeah, but there's no more on-call on the weekends if we do this?
only for water.
Yes, not
There
sewer.
still would be water to address. The water, which they do anyways when they're on call. So,
So our on-call was doing both water and sewer.
correct,
So now we're gonna have on-call and they're just gonna do water.
yes.
Right.
So that's really,
And now the five-man rotation isn't so bad because there's not as many call-outs.
Correct. And you can obviously
but they don't have to come in and do the rounds.
They come in to check all the water wells.
So
Physically
they were
write
doing
down.
that.
Yes.
They were doing the
Water,
water wells and the
sewer,
pump stations.
Water, yep, pump stations, sampling.
So we're not saving anything there.
Well, you would, in my world, I would adjust at that point. If you're removing 75% of their work,
Can we adjust? It's in the contract.
I mean, you can adjust anything.
But it's
Well,
contractual, it's
yeah,
already
it
in the
is, it is,
contract,
it's
it's
their
contractual.
work.
They get that day off, if they have on call that weekend, they get a whole day off the next. We don't save anything there.
You can, I think you can.
It's in the contract back up. and
Correct.
negotiate. Boy, that went well last time. I know, I'm just,
I got
I
you.
think we're talking about, like what Gene was saying, we're talking about minor things now, but the big picture is.
What are we
we're in
gonna
a
do?
pickle- We're in a pickle here.
Yeah,
And,
So Greg, your recommendation is to have them take over all of it?
Yes, and it doesn't stop us from looking, doing the study, and changing our mind. Doesn't stop us from advertising either. It doesn't stop us from doing any of that. All this is gonna do is allow them to operate it, because the guys that I got down there are the best fit there. I'm not saying they're the best fit to be there, but they're the best fit to be there,
With
doing
what-
the work.
Where's the money coming from? Because this is $250,000.
Because two employees that are collecting the pay currently, so that's the maintenance crew chief, and there's a laborer's pay that hasn't been touched.
Well, we must have allocated something, because they're doing that now,
We allocated
right?
money.
So
for
you have the
Camden
difference
Group.
for the next 6 months of 66,000. The difference between them taking it over completely and where they currently are, am I misreading that, Greg? The green is what we're currently doing.
Correct.
But you're just sliding those costs, except for the
I
$96,000.
am, but all I'm saying is, at this point, for those, there must have been money allocated
For Camden Group.
Camden Group to operate this far,
Yes.
it's in the budget.
That's 96,000.
whatever that.
That's for
whatever
6
that-
months. We
Yeah,
budgeted,
whatever that
That's in the
number was.
green. That's 96,000.
we budgeted 200,000 for
On
Canada.
top of that, we're gonna be
Adding 66 for the next 6 months, or 132 for annually.
246.
You're
My-
adding 246 to 236? I thought that was the difference between the two.
that's what I thought.
No, because you're still got all the payroll for our own guys that are sliding up into the gray.
Correct.
But I was at the understanding that his staff had already been reduced, and he was gonna pull these guys in. If I understand this
Yep.
right, you had about a 6 or 7 person staff.
7-man staff. we're down
7-man
to
staff,
5.
he's down to 5.
Correct.
Those positions haven't been replaced.
So that money could be allocated to Camden Group for that.
But that's two laborers.
That's one laborer and one head maintenance crew chief.
I'm not seeing it that way, guys. I'm seeing 172
Yeah.
is what.
He's
is-
saying it could be.
Okay.
The 172 is if all 7 employees were doing some kind of work at the wastewater treatment plant. Like the head groundskeeper, he's only pulling certain amount out of that, he's doing work down there.
Greg, you gotta explain that to
Yeah.
me, because you've got four salaries in the gray that
Correct.
total up to 172.
I got 4 full-time salaries, then the head groundskeeper pulls out for sampling. The wastewater maintenance crew chief, he gets sampling stipend. Everybody gets a sampling stipend, so that's gonna go away.
But those are down in the green. Those
Because they're
costs
currently doing that now.
I understand, but the salaries for those people are still here and gonna get paid. It doesn't matter if
Correct.
they're in the gray or in the green, but
Nope.
right now they're into the green. They're gonna slide up to the gray.
Correct. We're still gonna pay that are in there, just out of a different fund. We're either gonna take them out of the water, or we're gonna take them out of general, either way.
There's $140,000 difference between the $96,000 that Camden is gonna get for the next 6 months under their current contract
Right.
to the $246,000 that they're proposing to get paid for the next 6 months to supplement those three town employees.
Correct.
That's $140,000, but there's
What's the
200.
236?
It's what we currently are paying now. That's Camden
Currently
Group.
paying Tandem?
No, that's paying our own employees and
Plus
Camden Group,
Camden.
plus Camden Group.
Which is all in the budget and in salary now, so that's there.
Yep. We're gonna subtract out of the 240, or we're gonna take the 246, we're gonna take the crew chief's salary and the laborer's salary. That's gonna be paid towards Camden Group. So you gotta subtract those two as well, because we're already currently budgeted for the crew chief and the laborer anyways. That funds are there. So we would shift those funds to the Camden Group.
So you're telling me that those funds for the wastewater treatment chief operator and the other operator have a line item in the budget right now?
Not the chief operator and the wastewater treatment, no,
They do not have a
they
line.
do not. But the
So
crew chief.
But they're
and-
under the Camden Group is covering those
Correct,
under the Camden, so,
yep. The gray is if we ran it as our own.
yes, I understand that.
Okay,
Right. In a perfect world, if we had the people,
Correct.
correct?
yes.
But it's short the 3 people that are down below.
Because not all employees are coming out of they're the same are there, it's just some employees are pulling sampling stipend, which comes out of the sewer. So that's what you see the $364.43. That's a sampling stipend that would go away if we hired Camden Group. Like the head groundskeeper, the maintainer, a laborer. They're gonna go from the sewer, come to the water, and they're not gonna have to do those duties. So our sampling stipend of $2,565 would go away, because that would then go towards the Camden Group. The on-call pay, you could, if the town wanted to adjust it, again, we have to open the contract, but you can adjust it so they don't, to fit what they're going to currently do. The clothing allowance, which is budgeted for the certain guys, can go towards that. We budgeted clothing allowance for 7 guys. We only currently have 5. That's $1,200. That can go towards Camden Group. At the end of the day, they're struggling. We're finding it hard to do it with 5. I'm working, again, I don't care, in the field most days. I either have to go this route with Camden Group, or I gotta put the signboard out there and get employees. I don't wanna hire 2 laborers or a laborer and a maintainer, then we find an operator, then have to let them go. That's really not what I wanna do. If I'm looking for employees, I wanna keep them. So if I'm searching, I wanna search for an operator that's gonna run our plant, but we just can't find them. I don't wanna just settle for a laborer.
Still end up with the Camden Group anyway.
I still have Camden Group, so we're adding 2 more salaries, or we're just gonna maintain in the green like we do now. It just, we gotta do something. And I like the blue, that gets us through a little bit of a hurdle. We can still look for our own people and still change. We can always change. It's just, it's tough currently. And
And
we
the
need to
plant's
either
gonna come
get
online.
more guys or go that route. That's really our only options. We've been doing it for 5. I have 2 employees that are very gracious that will pick up the weekend rounds. There's gonna come a time where they're not gonna wanna do the weekend rotation. I'm either gonna have to mandate somebody to do it or do it myself. I don't wanna have to mandate.
Is there a timeline to this?
As far as,
Us making a decision to go this route, or like, Are we talking about right now to make this work if we sign the contract tomorrow? Or are we gonna talk about doing this after our next budget session, that we can find out where the money's gonna come in 6 months from now, which might be easier with the conversations we're having now?
In 6 months, I may not have 5. I may only have 3 because they're overworked. I couldn't tell you that. If I could have it happen tomorrow, I would. I know that's not probably an option, but the sooner than later, we have to do something.
How are you gonna pay for it? Can you show us how you're gonna pay for it?
We're gonna have to pull the funds from those 2 salaries, and whatever's left over, we're gonna have to probably do a rate increase. I mean, we're gonna have to do a rate increase anyways this year. I mean, nobody told me that I had to do $10,000 in water meters for the wastewater treatment plant project. I mean, nobody told me that we have to do all these upgrades to the electric service that we did not budget for. So, I mean, there's a lot of money coming out that was not accounted for, because nobody said anything. So either way, I gotta do a rate increase.
I
This
understand that.
budget season.
I'm not saying that you don't, but, and now you have the sludge issue, correct?
Now we have a sludge issue.
But-
That's a different story.
For me to vote on, or to approve, I need to see how much you gotta raise, the rate, where the money's gonna come from, and where you're gonna take the money from the salaries that aren't being used right now, and the employees that aren't here.
Could you calculate that, Greg, and what you think the rate would be? The increase in rates?
Yep. Yep.
Would the board like to see that?
I think we need it.
I think we gotta do something.
Yeah, I think we need it too.
We got a
But
plane,
it's-
we got a very expensive plant coming here online. All right, it's,
Why are we talking about moving 2 laborers out of the wastewater treatment plant to put them up into the gray when we can just hire 2 laborers for what's in the gray?
So you wanna let go an employee, then rehire somebody? If I'm just gonna move them from, is that how I'm understanding this?
No,
No,
Okay,
no.
I'm missing it then.
Well,
adding 2, Greg. So all you're doing is saying you take everybody out of waste
Oh.
treatment, just hire 2 more to work at waste treatment. And stay where we are.
We can. That's an option. We can hire 2 more laborers and stick them down there. That still doesn't give us
I'm
our
not
own
talking about
people.
2 more layers to stick them down there, because they're already trained, they're already working, that's functional,
whoever
but
it
wherever
is,
it is,
yeah.
but you need them in the water.
I-
You need laborers, and they're all gonna be in the rotation.
Correct.
It's a potential saving, it is a savings.
It
right?
is. It's just
It's a big savings.
if we wanna
actually.
operate it our own way, then we need operators.
Well,
If we
I'm
wanna
saying
continue,
if we still stay at the hybrid, even.
correct, we need
Right.
2 more
to what-
bodies.
Right, to what Gene is saying, even if you added 2 more bodies, it's still a savings from what you're talking about, going full Camden for an
Agreed.
annual rate.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I see this process, trying to work out the numbers and work out the contracts to be, a couple of meetings issue. So
Yeah.
I think that you should get something out on the board for hiring laborers.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree.
you good with that?
I think we should advertise.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt.
No,
All right.
I'm not disagreeing.
Can we
Is
move
there,
on from
is
this?
there
It's,
issues if I put the operator on there as well? Wastewater treatment plant operator?
Nope.
I mean,
No
Not
problem
with
with
me.
that.
Okay.
Nope, no problem at all.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna go to the public hearing, and I'm gonna recuse myself, so Mr. Warden will take over.
All right, welcome everybody to the public hearing, the town of Shenango, for the local law to rezoning 3 parcels on New York State Route 12 and updating the town of Shenango zoning map. This is a continuation of the public hearing that we had 2 weeks ago. We left it open, and we're going to allow more people to speak if they'd like to. Do we need to read everything again, or? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, everything was previously read into the record.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to have Adam read his comments or,
Do you want it, first
or not
let's,
his comments, excuse me.
Just
but-
Nate, could you just summarize how we left it last week and what the rest of the procedure is? I mean, we left it open, tabled it, what did we do?
You left it open and continued it to this meeting. So it was, call it tabled or whatever, but you continued it to this meeting.
Okay, and what is the process that we have to follow tonight for it? Can we just have a conversation about where things go, or do we get public? I just want, what is the process?
Yeah, up to the board. If you folks want to have a discussion, and I know there was a discussion about where you folks see it based on the last meeting and any information you've looked at or reviewed since then, and then decide what you want to do, insofar as the current application is. You can just directly go right, reopen the hearing, or formally continue the hearing, hear from people, then have that discussion. You have a discussion, continue it, hear from people, have more discussion. You folks have several options about how you want to move forward right now. They're all fine.
I think that we should have a discussion amongst ourselves on how we want to move forward with it before we open it, if we go to public, or how we do that.
Don't want to do the public hearing part of that first and allow the folks that showed up to speak?
well, I think if we discuss, it
No,
might
I-
help
I-
out this,
Okay.
Okay.
I think we discuss the information that we received over the 2 weeks.
Yeah, I just think as far as the issue, it's a process issue for me where it stands right now. And the application, the way that I see it, without getting into any of the content of it, it was incomplete.
Agreed.
And I think that we should be talking about denying the application and sending it back, and having the applicant do whatever their options are that are available to them to move forward with it.
The discussion, and I agree with you, Gene, the discussion I would like to have too is, because in my opinion, the application should have never gotten to us,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, in doing that, I think I would like to clear the
Let's keep the comments down, because the board's having a discussion, we'll let you speak afterwards, please.
I think to clear any of the ambiguity surrounding that, because we have an absence of a code department head, which is where I would have assumed this application to go, what would be the process if the applicant or any other applicant in between now and when we have a department head files an application like this? Is this something that we would refer to Alex to review for its completeness? Because in my opinion, it should have never been here.
I agree. I think the process got a lot farther down the road than it should have. There should have been checks and balances saying,
Right.
we need a little more information, or
Right, because there's no opportunity to vote on this if it's incomplete.
I think because it has been kind of messy, I think it might be an advantage to start from scratch, even though we're going to lose some time possibly for the applicant, but
But listen, I agree with Gene, though. This is a procedure problem.
Yeah.
And I think we need to get back to what the procedure is. But I just want to know if the applicant reapplies, or again, if someone else decides to apply tomorrow, are we going to get an incomplete application again? How do we prevent that from happening? And I know there's a process to do that,
Yep.
but there's a few holes within the organization right now. So I think we should talk about how to plug those.
In the interim, I would think that we would need to specifically assign that to Alex's responsibility. The process still starts in the Code and Ordinance Department. Alex and Nate supplement that review to make sure that it's a complete process. But other than that, I don't think that we need to do anything more than that.
And I'm fine with that, because I would trust Alex's experience and expertise to review that appropriately.
I agree with that, that we need somebody to review it prior to us getting it and going ahead with it.
The only thing that I'd like, that I just want to say is that team that we're talking about is part of that application process anyway, because if there's questions from the code about whether it's complete or not, Alex is in there with the site plan, the planning board. He looks at all that stuff, so I don't think this is just an issue because we don't have the department head pushing things in the areas where it should have gone.
So how would he have gotten in this particular application, and how did it get here?
Because the department head wasn't there and said,
Yeah.
here it is, pushed it on, it went,
Right.
it came to the town board, we had it, Alex actually had reviewed it for the planning board and gave him, Alex, I haven't seen it yet, but you had said at the last meeting that you had written a letter to the planning board saying it was an incomplete application. That was something that we didn't have at the time that we
Okay.
accepted it. The other thing that's odd about this situation is that it's a zoning change because it's a PDD. That's why the town board is involved in it, and it's not back at the planning board portion of it. So we don't see a lot of these things unless it happens in that process.
Understood. Okay, so if that happens, or anything else comes in the interim, obviously he's part of the process anyway. Okay.
Alex and Nate, did I misrepresent anything, or is there a different process that you think, I mean, just a comment and feedback?
Oh, I think you summarized it accurately.
Okay.
So because I don't know this, Gene, and is it the PDD is the only one that would come before us?
Not exclusively, but there are only very few things that come from us from a zoning issue.
Okay.
That, from a zoning issue, the PDD issue is a town board issue.
So procedurally speaking, if this application were refiled, the process would be for Alex to review it, then to planning? Or is that our option to send it to planning?
It is our process
Okay.
to send it after we get it, we review it, we send it to the planning board for their review and their
Comments?
Advisory opinion.
Okay.
They would send that back to the town board. We would use that. There also is the 239 review process.
From the county, yep.
So as soon as we get that, we also get their comments back in. And there's that 30-day issue with the 239 review. We have the public hearing portion of it. I mean, that part of the process was done correct. It was just, with it being an incomplete application.
Right, it should have never gotten out of the gate.
Right.
And Jay, I would review it before you get it and refer it to planning next time around.
Okay.
That was the step that was missed. I saw it at the planning level, so you had already received it and moved it.
So to restart that, just for clarity, to restart that, once that restarts, it goes through that process, we would conduct another public hearing.
Yeah. If we follow through this process and deny it, yes.
What happens, so, okay, because it's incomplete. So I guess what I'm getting at is, here we are, right? We've had a public hearing, we've got a continuance that we're talking about doing tonight for the public hearing to hear more public comment. We've all gotten stacks of emails. Do we procedurally start over, or is there an opportunity for a continuance of this if the applicant were to complete the application?
So Jay, I can jump in on that. It's substantively, it's going to be the exact same thing as if he's applying again.
Okay, I just wanted to clear it up for everybody, and I didn't know what the procedure was either.
Right.
So I just want to be clear so everybody here understands what that procedure is as well.
So I would liken it to the scenario that we were presented in Apple, and we've reviewed that up to this stage. The lacking information or a complete application package is going to be in orange. So everything that we've done, all the conversation, everything has been about an apple. We need to talk about an orange, so we have to redo the public hearing, the notice based on the new documents, which is a big, I believe, isn't in the best interest of the applicant or the town, because we're mingling a lot of documentation. So
Understood.
but
I
that's
was
the
just
process.
looking for clarity, that's all.
But that's why.
I agree, the complete package, the only package we're looking at, so we're not working on a hybrid. Understood.
I agree. What else can I say?
So,
It's
so that-
incomplete application.
okay, so if that's our feeling on an incomplete application, is there a need to hold the continuance of the public hearing, or do we close the public hearing and vote on the application?
I would vote on the application and allow the public that's here to do what if there's something that they want to say, because that will be relevant for the application going forward. I wouldn't want to deny them their opportunity to do that.
And I agree, but wouldn't we hear the public comment first?
But that's not, that doesn't have an issue to me.
I don't have any problem voting right now.
But we would may or may not get more comments or less comments depending on the vote. So, but I would prefer to vote now.
Dave?
We're gonna vote either before or after.
I mean, it's
it's
irrelevant,
Do
so.
it now,
Okay, I'm good with it.
but I'm willing to hear what people have to say,
I am too.
so.
Well, we will
Just
open,
feels
we
backwards, but-
advertise for a public hearing, so
Sure,
I think
sure,
we'll
I-
still have the
and-
public
and I
hearing, but I
agree.
think they might as well hear the way we're gonna vote.
I just if there's an issue that we're doing procedurally wrong in this process, I'd like Nate to say one thing.
I would not vote until you've closed the public hearing.
Well, that was good information.
There you go.
Okay.
So you might as
I
well-
would.
you might as well-
I gotta go with what he says, he's the lawyer.
So you can go ahead and open the public hearing.
You don't have to do
As
it.
long as we agree with it.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Are we discussions, are we
Yeah.
done with discussion?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll open I'm good with
Yes.
opening the
Yes.
public hearing.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna open the public hearing back up to allow you to speak if you'd like to. I'm just gonna go over the rules real quick. Speakers shall address the comments to the town board only, not to other members of the audience. Speakers shall be recognized by the board. Said speakers are asked to give both their name and address for the town clerk's minutes. However, it's not required. Please speak slowly, clearly, and loudly for all to hear and ensure the accuracy of the recording. Guests shall speak in an orderly fashion and are limited to remarks of 5 minutes or less. The speaker shall deliver their comments or concerns regarding the town of Shenango in a civil tone without the use of profanity, personal attacks, or disruptive behavior, which may result in the offender's removal from the meeting. The speaker shall not be interrupted except for a matter of urgency. So at this time, we would ask you to come to the microphone if you would like to comment. We have one in the back coming up right now.
Hello.
Hello.
Is it?
So,
Hello.
Hello.
If you're closing the hearing anyway, most of my comments are irrelevant. But I do want to speak on a procedural issue I had with the way the hearing was handled. When I asked at the town clerk's office, I was told that for issues regarding hearing, people within 500 feet of the boundary line of the properties that were being discussed should have had a notice given to them or sent to them. And when reviewing it with the ordinance office, discovered that the people along Front Street in front of the property are definitely within 500 feet of the property line, and some on Brook Ave and some in Quinn Estates. And I don't think any of them received any kind of notice about the hearing or the issue in general. So I'm just, for the future, maybe I'd check into that. Just want to be kept informed of these things, and I'm pretty sure across the street is way less than 500 feet, so thank you.
Thank you. I know you were next, but
Yeah.
there's another one coming up, but you can go. It's up to you. I know you were. I know you motioned last time. She's good.
Kathy Smith on Brook Ave over there. I don't know if you can hear me. I just have a real quick thing. After listening tonight, I was just wondering, if this goes through for the rezoning, the problems that we're going to have with the water and the waste and everything they were talking about, you probably have to add a lot more people to work on that. So I was just thinking about that now. I didn't know about that until I heard how few people we have. But you can take that into consideration too.
Thank you. Why don't you go now?
Steve White, Broxton Road. I spoke last time. I just want to add a couple things to what I said about putting something in there. If you want to rezone for, that was never expressly clear what you want to do. Number two, if it does go through, who's going to put the bill on the infrastructure? Number three, I'm not sure anybody, any of the board members, with all due respect, is it in your backyard? Is it my backyard? Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, one more thing. It sounds like without having Gavin here, code, it sounds like we're kind of ahead of something that we kind of follow procedure on, which was just brought up tonight. But I could be wrong. I don't really understand a lot of this. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak?
I would.
Okay.
My name's Lynn Lydecker. I live on Brook Avenue. I don't have much to say because I have sent an email to the board and I spoke last time. But in a related comment, one of my biggest struggles with what's occurring now is an issue that I don't have a good answer for that I think will impact many things the town is doing, and that's communication. One of the things I'm really concerned about is I really don't believe that the large majority of town residents even know that this is occurring. I just realized that a self-storage business apparently is slated to go in on 12A, and I knew nothing about that. Granted, it's going to be a challenge for the board. I've tried to figure out, I've been thinking about this ever since this rezoning application came up, because I found out about it in a very bizarre way, and anybody else that I know found out about it in a bizarre way. And some people have tried to notify their friends via Facebook. I put a post with links to many of the things the board provided in minutes on a Nextdoor app, because I didn't know how to reach people. And I did it in a very non-committal way. I didn't really come out and say where I stood. I just was sharing information. I would go so far as to say that I would even volunteer for the town to become some kind of communication person and help the town with put out notices on Facebook. 500 feet for public notice for an event like this really seems like a slap in the face to taxpayers. It's not enough. People need to know. I wasn't aware till this process that it's in the town's overall plan to at some point develop 12A up to as far as Port Road. I don't know how a town plan comes around. If residents vote on it, I don't know if people are aware of that. But anyway, I think my biggest concern right now with this whole process is how do you, as an effective board, communicate to residents in a timely fashion that things like this are going to happen. So whether people are for it or not, they have a way to think about it and participate if they want to. And all I can think of is the stupid things like social media. Nobody reads the paper anymore. When I asked this question at the first board meeting I attended, I said, how are people going to know? The answer was the town's website, which 99% of town residents do not regularly look at, and the paper. And sadly, in hard copy or digital, our local paper really is non-existent. So I acknowledge this is a terrible challenge for you people. I don't have a great answer, but something needs to be done to address communication, because I think if more people knew, this room would be full tonight. And it's just a lack of knowing. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak?
Forgive me, because public speaking is not my thing, so if I start with...
Gotta get closer.
Closer, I guess? Okay. Forgive me, because public speaking is not my thing, so, if you think I'm going to pass out, save me. My name's Serena Brown, 1605 State Route 12. Along with everyone else with the communication problem, we all found about it, social media or someone knocking at our door, saying, hey, did you know about this? And I understand that it's just the 3 properties here right now, but I also understand the same people that bought this property also own the property that does go all the way up to Port Road, which could open a gate. And as you guys are discussing tonight, the incomplete application, I think that's a lot of people's concerns is there's no answer as to what they plan to do with that. And I think you'd have a lot more people showing up, a lot more people willing to speak, and that's probably a lot of people's questions. What are they going to do with it? What is their plans before everyone's like either makes a big deal about it or doesn't? I think it was 2018 or 2019 they tried to commercialize all this before. A lot of people showed up. But I don't even know if there was plans for that either, but it does seem, I don't want to say unfair, because if I were to come in and file some incomplete application, it would get denied, just like you're saying. It never should have got this far to public hearings. Why one got through and others didn't, it just seems like there's so many questions that could have been answered with a complete application to save a lot of these people coming up here and having to talk. And I think a lot of people just want to know what is the plan, the real plan, because it feels like we're all being backdoored and it's being done quietly, and that it will have implications for all of us, probably tax, probably water, sewer, all the things that affect our daily lives. So we'd like to really know what is going on with this, and not just, they just want to commercialize some property. Obviously something's going to happen with it. We just want some answers to it. So, thank you.
Thank you. There's one back there.
Hi, my name's Alyssa Harris. I live at 12 Norman Road. This is my first board meeting ever, so forgive me for not knowing exactly what's going on. I'm born and raised Shenango Forks, and I moved back here about 5 years ago. I lived in DC for about 10 years. Just generally in support of commerce in the town of Shenango, as someone moving back and have been born and raised here and seen the state of Front Street over the past 35 years. I know there's a lot of complaints of the decrepitness of some buildings and buildings not being successful and not getting the foot traffic or the advertising that they need. I think just built up commerce on Front Street would benefit the community overall. I think it would support local businesses, increase sales tax revenue, which supports our schools, increase jobs, increase home prices. If there's access to services, and again, I have no idea what the plans are for these commercialized businesses, but I see different businesses fail throughout the community. So I'm just in support of growing commerce in the town of Shenango appropriately, and especially in a place like Route 12 Road. We're essentially an off-the-highway stop at this point between the coffee shops and the fast foods and the gas stations, so none of that commerce is staying in town. They're buying something, they're leaving, they're getting on the highway and leaving. So developing something that would bring foot traffic to our area, I think would really benefit us.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you want to speak, or?
Can I
Well, because, no, you're talking through, we record it and it goes online, so it has to be you have to talk into a microphone or
Somebody might be able to hand it to him.
probably
Somebody
just
could hand
give
it to
her
her.
I'm way over here.
Okay, can you hear me? I spoke the last time. One of my questions is, and I think somebody else brought it up at the last meeting, I know we lost our code enforcement person in January, and I used to be on his back all the time. In fact, I'm the one that made them put the form online so people could actually use it instead of having to come over here and fill it out. And actually, truth be known, right before he quit, he called me on the phone and asked me if he could throw away the whole pile of complaints he had on his desk so everybody would stop bothering him. And I said, why are you asking me? Because I was over here a lot. And so somebody asked the question, if this area were developed here, what happens to the things that don't get done down there? You know, we don't want to become like the Vestal Parkway, you know, where it was all beautiful for a little while, and it looks fine where the campus is, but then there's empty stores, there are signs that don't get used anymore, and nobody ever takes them down, just like down here. There's grass that doesn't get mowed, and if somebody doesn't complain, nothing happens. It's like Hillside sat there for how many years falling apart, and nobody did anything about it. I complained, we filled out forms, nothing happened, and that was a dangerous building. And according to the internet, a dangerous building should not be standing. They should be told to tear it down, and they weren't. So that's why a lot of us don't expect this, you know, to be a good idea. Secondly, I complained about the fact that the EPA says that our water source is a protected site. This hill back here is 1,400 feet high, and it's steep. You start taking trees and brush down, what's going to happen with the erosion? Okay, that's a big concern. And somebody complained at the last meeting about sewage problems and water in the springtime. Well, we get that in Quinn Estates too. In the springtime, those center houses, which I showed somebody before a couple years ago, never got changed. Water goes under the highway and right through the center of Quinn Estates. And somebody mentioned it's because it was built on a swamp. No, it's not built on the swamp. The swamp is up there. Okay, one more. I have a question. I don't know if you can answer it right here. But if there's a reapplication, what does it look like? Is it, I mean, we were at a meeting for solar where he had a beautiful drawing and showed, you know, everything they were going to do. What happens, is that the same thing in this case? Is there, you know, a board with a drawing and a whole architectural plan? You know, what should we expect? I guess that's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else? Is that it?
I guess I'm a little confused. The property in question is this way. A lot of people from this area are concerned about the property here, but the property up here, where everybody's complaining, is a residential area, yet there's a homeowner who has a business right at his house. He has multiple dump trailers, multiple equipment trailers, multiple pickups. He has a sign in his front yard. It should be zoned commercial, but nobody says a word about that. So why are we concerned about a property down here where it's all business? I just don't understand it. Number two, nothing's been determined what's gonna go on that property yet, and when it is determined, it's gonna have to be passed. He's not just gonna be able to go in there and put anything up he wants to. It's gonna have to be something that is acceptable to the community. So I don't understand what the big deal is. The property's useless right now. Nobody's using it. It's not getting taxes for us. I don't understand what the big deal is.
Thank you.
Quinn Stabella, 119 Teresa Boulevard. I'd like to say I'm very delighted that you have come to the conclusion that we must know what the plan is. The Broome County Planning Board advised you in their comments that you needed a plan. And I think that's probably why a lot of us are here. It's not to say that we don't want development, but that we want to know what the development is going to be. And we do know we have a second chance of approving or disapproving what he might want to put there. It's come to my attention that people think that taxes are not paid, being collected from that property, but according to what I saw, he pays a lot of taxes on the properties that he owns, and the 2 houses that he currently rents. One of them has my concern in that it was built in the 1850s. It should really be on the historical site. And in that case, that would prevent any development in that area. It's a very beautiful home, and it should be preserved. And according to what the Broome County's plan is, more of those historical sites need to be found, and they need to be approved. And I think the Quinns would forever be grateful if that would happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Get someone, one of these guys. Anybody else, or?
I just got a couple of things. I live on Brook Avenue. Lived there for almost 70 years. There's a couple things that one we just mentioned about historical. I'm not sure if you people, many people know that Quinn, grandfather, was the first person to ever start a farm bureau in the whole United States. The whole United States. They have a monument to him next to the bank down here. And I'm like she said, I think that house should be some kind of museum for them. We have a Quinn Road, we have Quinn Estates. The other thing I wanted to mention is about the water. Living on Brook Ave for a number of years, we all have our wells. We have sewer down there, but we have individual wells. In the last, I'd say, 10 years, just on my street along Brook Ave, I'm not sure about Bel Air, I'm sure something's out, but there's been 7 new drills, because going deeper. Even Bodek's, Mr. Bodek, apartment building had to have re-drilled. And I was on, mine is probably 10, 12 years that I had to go deeper. I'm on the only one on the left-hand side, but most of it is on the right-hand side toward the Quinn Estates. Like I said, 7 wells have to be re-drilled. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Karen Crowley, 61 John Smith Road. I wrote a
Could you
letter-
speak in the microphone, just because I couldn't hear you?
Karen Crowley,
Thank you.
61 John Smith Road. Pinkton. I wrote a letter to the supervisor, but unfortunately I neglected to have it addressed to you as well. And as he's recused himself, I wonder if he took my letter with him.
No, he forwarded those letters to all the board members.
Did he?
We received your letter.
Okay. Well, I just want to bring out some of my points here. I don't know Mr. Buck Kodak at all, so this is not a personal front in any way to him. But my concerns are solely for the future use of our property and what can happen to it. I'm concerned about the safety of our drinking water, which comes from a well on our property, which could be contaminated by runoff or contamination underground water source that feeds our well. I'm concerned about the safety of the aquifer on the southerly side of the New York State Route 12, which supplies water to many in the town. I'm concerned about clear-cut forestry to the upper elevations of acreage in question along New York State Route 12 with no consideration for proper drainage to avoid causing harm to neighboring lands. We've suffered much damage due to severe flooding and erosion twice since living here, and our weather is continually changing with severe storms, and don't look forward to that. Finally, I'm concerned over the development of our existing tranquil neighborhood. Increased traffic, unsafe drivers seem to be increasing in our area, and even on John Smith Road. We even have increased foot traffic. But those are my personal concerns, and I appreciate if you would keep them in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Step right up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Bodick. Many of you have met me, talked to me, seen me here before, and I just want to say, obviously, it was not my intention to give you something half done. Okay. I bobbled a little bit going to the code office originally. We kind of didn't know who to bring it to, and here we are. So, that was never my intention to do so. For those that you know me, I don't do anything halfway, okay? I respect every single person's comments here. Those that have set things into the board, I've read online where they posted it, and I'm hoping that I can bring some answers to some of your questions. I want to say thanks to the people that did reach out to me. I've had some great conversations with people who called me. A couple people stopped me in the parking lot afterwards, and I had some great conversations, and I look forward to having more. Okay, I'm easy to get a hold of. I'd love to talk to any one of you. I'd love some ideas. Obviously, I take a lot of pride in my houses, okay, and my properties. I'm not going to do something halfway. I'd love opinions. If there's something the town needs, again, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear a good thing. As far as just to correct someone that mentioned something about my well on Brook Ave, I've never had it drilled deeper. Just had to replace the top of the casing that rotted off. So, I knock on wood, I've had very good luck with my property on Brook Ave. So, again, I will do my due diligence and see if we can present something and fulfill the application. But again, I'd love to hear from anybody that has questions or concern. I'm an open book. I'd love to talk to anybody further. Okay? Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good enough? Debbie Wells, 1615 State Route 12. I feel like this is kind of deja vu all over again. We've been here before, and I'm sure we're going to be coming back again. Some of my main concerns are obviously the traffic up Front Street. If he gets commercial down here, there's no way that he's going to not ask for commercial up there. And that will be right behind a lot of people's houses and real close to mine. All those trees will be gone. You guys have trouble with runoff as it is. Like Karen said, John Smith Road, it's It wipes out her backyard, it wipes out my backyard, every time it rains. It goes down the hill. And town of Shenango diverted a lot of the water. It used to come down the side of John Smith Road, under the road, and then across to our properties. I was there when it used to come across the road, which wasn't safe because there were rocks in the road. But anyways, so I'm concerned about the runoff. I'm concerned about the, he's going to have to upgrade the sewer system. Whose dime is that? Is that our dime? I think probably. And how about something else? Federally protected water across from all those nice trees. That's the wetland. And how about single-family homes? Keeping it residential instead of commercial. I guess that's all I have to say. Okay?
Thank you. Is that it?
Steve Heimerter, 735 Rotsman Road. I just want to speak in support of the change in zoning. I think the town needs it, and now's the time to do it.
Thank you.
One other thought. I'm hearing a lot of what ifs and considerations of issues that people are foreseeing, but I again, this is my first meeting, so forgive me. We don't know anything until we see the plan, to the beginning point of this meeting. We don't have the official plan, we don't have the engineering plans behind it. A lot of that could be fixed with proper city planning, proper drainage, proper forestry. Like, there's other permits and things that have to get obtained before he goes and slaps a Walmart up there. So I just want to get that into everybody's heads, that a lot of things have to happen first, and a lot of planning and engineering and formalized processes have to happen, and it's not just going to all be bad.
We close once, twice, 3 times. All right. The board together on closing the public hearing. Are we okay?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second that. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Ward?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Jensen?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Lumsden is recused.
Thank everybody for your comments. The public hearing is now closed. Okay. You want to bring Mike back? Oh, no.
What,
Do
are
you
we
want to
gonna-
vote on this now?
I'll make a motion to deny the application on the grounds that it's incomplete.
I'll second that.
And so for discussion, I just,
He can't, hang on a second, just hang on a second.
I
Let
do
everybody leave
want
a
to
second.
make sure that, the application as it that we're talking about that was incomplete, there is a process that is outlined in our ordinance that should get followed if the applicant is to reapply for that, and to make sure that it is a complete and compliant application. So that's really, that is the applicant's, option to do that or to not resubmit that, but that's up to the applicant. So that's really the only other comment that I want to have for the discussion.
Are we into discussion right now?
Yeah, because you seconded
I
that.
second it, so we're in discussion. Is there a fee for him to apply for the zoning change? Did you pay a fee?
Yeah.
So does he have to pay the fee again?
Yes.
Okay.
Fee's not refundable.
Correct.
So if you submit an incomplete application, let's say it went through the normal process, and Alex sent it back to him, he would have an opportunity to complete the application as it were started.
He would make sure it was.
You see what I'm saying?
Well,
So it seems unfair to me, Gene, that we accepted an application and brought it in here. So there's some blame on our part, in my opinion. So to penalize him, the fee for the application doesn't really seem fair.
Yeah,
Because
but we're not held accountable. I mean, I understand your point, but
Okay,
the
I'm just making that point. I'm not saying what,
but there's no, yeah, it doesn't apply.
it doesn't apply. So he would have, which is fine. So, but in that case, just to understand that, so if someone were to go forward and they send in an application and it didn't get to us, and it got sent back to them and said, hey, you have to complete it, that application is still open. What I'm saying is, here's what I'm getting at. We're about to vote on denying this application, which closes the door on this application, which means he starts all over again, right? But if it didn't get to us, his application would still be open, because it would have never proceeded through the town process to get closed, because it was incomplete.
In general and in concept, yes, but there are a lot of applications that when you accept the application at any level, it is not a detailed review by the code department or by the, when you're going through it. You tell the applicant where the code is, they hire their professionals to fill it out. So there are things that could go into an application that make it incomplete. So it is not a guarantee that it's a complete because we accept it.
I understand that, but
Right.
through that process, the applicant would have an opportunity to remedy anything that was not submitted or incomplete.
I think that that's a fair statement, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is part of the that is
Okay.
part of the,
All right.
there are.
And I understand what you're saying, that there's no obligation on our part for any type of refund or remediation towards that. It's just an unfortunate circumstance at this juncture.
Right, because there are processes in for a pre-application meeting with the town.
Okay, all right, I just want to understand, I just want everyone to be able to understand what that process is, including the applicant.
Yes, but that applicant is part of that process. They have to ask for that pre-application meeting, to go through that, to make sure that they know what has to be complete, and then when it's submitted,
That's
it's
when the
submitted with
fee
the
is paid.
fee and
Fair
everything
enough.
else.
Understood,
Yep.
okay.
Any other discussion?
I just think that we goof things up, but we're gonna have to accept it.
I agree, Dave. We did, but it's an unfortunate circumstance, and I don't know what that remedy is.
So I think it's good to start clean, fresh, start over again. Instead of continuing, are you talking about continuing or just deny the application?
Oh, I don't
So-
know if we have much choice.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, when you look at it from a procedural standpoint, the application isn't complete, period. I don't know what else to do with it. And I think to remove any ambiguities going forward between a partial application and what gets resubmitted really just clouds everything. I think for the public too.
Jay, the one thing I do think is important to note about your comment about where there was any kind of hole in this. Ultimately, it's the applicant's responsibility to submit a complete application, but there are processes that we have not had that issue in this town in the past. We've got a hole there.
Right. That's why I call it. And it was an unfortunate circumstance. Whatever came together on it.
It was the perfect storm that occurred there. Gavin left. I believe Alex was on vacation. I think when that application came on, you were on vacation.
Mid-April.
Yeah. I think when it came in the first time.
So-
I just remember it was like we were trying to struggle. You weren't here either. I think you were on vacation too. I think it was the time when you were on vacation. There's a lot of input.
Yeah.
You've been here a long time, so you
Yeah.
understand because remember the discussion, we were going to send it right to the planning board before.
Right,
We're
right.
like, no,
We
you
just-
can't
right.
do that.
Couldn't-
So, all right, not to discuss
In any
anymore
event,
on
but yeah, it is, that is an unfortunate circumstance, and Dave, to your point, I'm not sure what else we can do.
Any more discussion?
I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
Yeah, I'm good.
call it, Mr. Clerk.
Do we make a motion
Well,
to?
whoa. Gene
Or
made
he
the motion.
She made a motion to.
Maybe so everybody understands, maybe if you would repeat it.
Well, I made the motion to deny the application, and Kevin Worden seconded it.
Okay.
Mr. Ward?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Lumsden is recused.
I'll
All
go-
right.
I'll go get Mike.
We're done with this topic. We get Mike back.
I've talked to his attorney, and, you know, I mean, I don't know, I have no idea what he's planning on putting in there, but,
Thank you.
I mean, well, why not just strictly a commercial? I mean, he's creating an entirely new PDD district now, if he's not following one of the existing categories, which is fine, he can do that. I think he'd be better served by coming
I
up.
think we're down to 763. Did we finish with you, Greg?
Did we finish that Camden
7.2.
discussion?
We did, he was gonna get us dollars.
But I think you had another,
Yeah, it's something with
the
the
digester.
tanks pump, right?
We can do that now, or we can do it in my report.
Oh, you got it.
Let's do
Okay,
it in his
sorry.
report.
We'll do it in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
report.
Either way.
I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good.
I didn't know you had a report. All right, go ahead, Mike. You're good.
I'm trying to get logged back in here, Kevin.
You've been gone for a while.
I took a nap. 7.3, insurance renewals. Gentlemen, you see that? Jody, Miss Jody sent everything to you guys. I gotta get logged in here. I see it. Any concerns with that?
Mike, can you go over how
I'm
the
trying to get-
insurance, how the cost proposal for the renewal changed from last year to this year, and did it align with the budget?
No, I don't have it. She just put that out there to you guys. I didn't, I just saw it today. So you're asking me about where it is on the line item for last year's budget? The increase? Is that what you're asking me?
So are you?
No, I know that in the report for the insurance, last year's cost was $121,600. This year's cost was $128,004. What I'm asking is if that $128,000 was within the budget for what we had projected. That's what
I
I'm
don't have
asking.
that answer. I don't know if it is.
Okay,
I will find out in the morning, send you guys an email on that.
okay.
I wouldn't even know, that would be under separate line.
You got it right there, Kevin?
Is it under one line or is it under separate
I
lines?
think it's under separate for
Yeah,
different departments, I think.
I could not find it under one.
Okay, that's how I was just
Right,
gonna
and I
look.
think it's
I'm not
in
gonna waste my
multiple
time.
ones. Highway vehicles, yes, ma'am.
It's on page 6 of the Smith Brothers, the explanation.
No,
Okay,
Yeah,
I
but
gotta
that's,
get,
that's not what he's asking.
page 6? It's not what
Mi-
it is.
Yeah, it's not,
I'm
it's
trying
not
to
Mike.
get this pulled up, yeah. Okay. I will get that. I believe it's in multiple lines.
Right.
Okay?
Mhm.
Anything else?
But that's the only option we have is just renewing it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yes.
unless we go out for quotes. But we didn't want, she didn't want to have a lapse in our insurance and not
Right,
have things
right.
covered.
Right, I'm not,
No, the only comment I was gonna say about that is the Smith Brothers, we recently understood when this was coming in. And in the past, Smith Brothers has been talking to us in February and March and April with getting us those numbers.
Okay?
And we've had opportunity to look at those and make sure that the the schedule of values for the vehicles was right, and to go through the schedule of the assets for the playgrounds and the buildings, and to make sure that everything was correct. And I wasn't aware that that was going on, so if it didn't happen this year, I just think that Smith Brothers somebody should have a conversation with them about making sure we get this information
Okay, I'll call them in the morning.
in advance. And if they did get it, just
Where
share
is
it
it?
with the board.
He said it did happen.
It did. They reached out to, a lot of it's Joy and some of mine for all the values, the vehicles, and we double-checked everything that was on there, and we provided it back to the supervisor's office. Correct?
When?
May?
Yeah.
April, May?
Yeah.
We do it April or May.
Yeah, that's much later than, I mean, when we're talking about a July 1, or a June 30th sunset on it, we need to be making this resolution in June, not in July. So we got to have those numbers finalized
March.
in May. And
Get
that
'em in
process
March,
needs
April.
to start and it has historically in the past.
That was on supervisor, not, because that comes from them to us to get all our information. We can only get it to them when we do.
Right, but this is a conversation that the board's having, but I don't think I just think it's an issue that Smith Brothers has in the past been proactive with us, not us having to chase them down and
Okay.
get that information. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I'll get a call into
And
them in the morning.
maybe Jody could just put a reminder in her calendar, at the end of February to reach out to Smith Brothers and tell them to get working
Well, I
on it.
want to see where the disconnect was.
Yeah. That-
All right?
Yep.
All right, gentlemen, anything else on that? Mr. Dave?
I got none.
Good. Good, all right.
Are we doing the resolution on that?
Are we gonna have a lapse in coverage, or what's the?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's going to happen if we don't do it, yes.
Yeah, but there isn't, I didn't see one on the agenda.
Yeah, that didn't get on my radar as needing a resolution to put together for it.
Can you put something together?
Yeah, I can, but I would also suggest you do a motion to renew it, and we can do a cleanup resolution at the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the Smith Brothers insurance policy renewal proposal.
I'll second.
Discussion.
None.
Mr. Jean, I didn't hear you.
Oh,
Discussion.
I didn't say anything,
Oh,
because
I-
I don't have any more discussion, but I should have positively responded. I have no discussion.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Warden?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Nay.
Mr. Lumsden?
Aye. All right, we're going to move on to dog control. Everyone sees Joel's monthly report. Any comments you want related to Joel? Do you need anything else from him?
I have no comments.
I have none.
Mr. J, Mr.
Aye.
Kevin? Jay, you good?
Yes.
All right, we're going to move on. The Valvoline proposal, DPW report, 8.2.
I provided you guys with the proposal for PEC to do the removal of the testing and some of the removal of the Valvoline contaminated soil. As you see in there, the scope of work is to collect and analyze the water, to submit the sample, provide vac truck and operator to collect water as needed and dispose off-site, the general contractor to load soil, dispose off-site, and provide disposal receipts for all water and soil. If we don't approve this, we're at a standstill with the project at that particular site.
Where is a letter of recommendation or a review letter or a responsibility letter about what the town is going to do with this?
I just got this recently and forwarded it to you guys, so I didn't have time to put in for the agenda.
I don't think that that's acceptable. I think if you're telling me that a project's at a standstill, then you've got to have the documentation ready for me to review it. And just a proposal for this work isn't sufficient for me to bypass our policies and procedures.
Is this just to put in the footers? Is that where you got the electrical lines and the whole bit, or the whole length of the sewage pipe going through there?
This is just the site work for the footers for the stanchion that they're gonna put there. When they dug it originally, they found contaminated soil,
So they had to stop.
so they had to stop.
But we're not talking about a
And
whole
the
lot.
DEC was notified, right?
DEC was
I
notified.
did see that.
The board
And
has been notified in the past. This is just, I received this and
do we know the source of this contamination?
we do not.
Does the DEC, did anyone do any investigation to this?
They have not done, as far as I'm understanding, no. They won't come
So-
on site until we have, I believe, somebody there. Then they'll come on site and do
So we don't even know if the source of the contamination has been remedied.
Guys, I'm a little concerned about having
Yeah.
this conversation about the potential contamination and lawsuits.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I'm just voicing a concern about having it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I hear you, because I don't know where this came from, and to see this just
Then I-
seems irresponsible to us
I would
to
like to
accept
make
this.
a motion to go into attorney-client privilege so that we can discuss this, what our options or responsibilities are. Because I think the conversation needs to be had. How do we discuss this?
I make a motion to discuss it in executive session.
I'll second.
I don't want to go in now.
No,
I'm not
later,
approving to
later.
go in now, and I don't, let's finish the meeting.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
at the end of the meeting.
we'll discuss it again, how's that?
Okay. Move
I
on,
don't
Greg.
think we can act on this right now as a board.
No, I
That's-
think
that's
we
my
need some
view.
information.
So that's the way I.
Secondly, the report is there, water, sewer, parks. The generator project is wrapping up. Most of the generators are up and running. We're still waiting on 2 to be start up and in place and in service. Sewer operating at the plant while the project's going on. The drill crew is on site most days. Last I knew, they were starting to pull pipe. Parks Department mowing, Music in the Park starts in July. 10 after-hours call-outs. Buildings and grounds, the first floor stair lights have been changed out. There was a light in front of the court pay window that needed to be replaced. We're waiting that light to show up. One light in front of the court bathroom went, and we replaced that one as well. The PFAS lawsuit, I sent that to everybody as well. We received the first wave of payments. We need to have a discussion on where that funds is going to go. That was asked by the bookkeeper. I do have a few board topics that I need to discuss as well. We can do that now or when we talk about future board topics.
I have a comment about the lawsuit money.
Okay.
And I don't know how it can go in anywhere else other than the
Than
benefit
water.
districts in accordance with how it was distributed.
I was mentioned the same thing, and I was asked just to ask that question by the bookkeeper. So that's why I put it on there.
That's where it should go, right? Nate?
So you're saying the districts where the wells are you saying the whole water district?
No, I'm talking the districts that were
Certainly.
cited
Affected.
in
The lawsuit.
that letter about where that distribution went, and it itemized the dollar amount associated with each well in each district, that should go into those funds.
Okay.
And that they should be used specifically for a remediation plan for those areas to address the PFAS. and no other use. That's my recommendation.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. I don't see why you can do anything else.
So we just got to do our due diligence to look at the letter, which wells and how much was assigned to each one, so that Lori knows how to distribute it back into those line items.
Yeah, it's very clear in the letter, so that'll
Yeah.
be very
Yeah.
easy for her to do. And then
That's what we'll do.
to Gene's point, I'm not aware of there being a legal requirement that you only use the monies for that specific purpose of remediation. I understand, and I think that makes a lot of sense, but that's obviously a policy decision for you guys to do.
I think it should stay with the districts that were affected, personally.
I agree.
Can you prepare a resolution for us to allocate those funds in the amounts allocated for the lawsuit and for the specific use for the remediation of the PFAS?
Yeah, so yes,
Okay.
it's effectively creating like a reserve fund in each of the districts for that purpose, which should be fine, but just saying like that's the method I see is accomplishing that.
Okay, so reserve funds, those kind of things are gonna follow that process with setting it up, local law, public hearing kind of?
Nope, no local law, no public hearing, but it's either a type or specific. For sure, we don't need a public hearing. And then, because this would probably be type, because we don't know what needs to be done. It's a capital improvement of some sort. And so when we make an expenditure out of the type capital improvement, that would be subject to permissive referendum at the time.
Okay.
So not a public hearing.
Okay, and should, if it's a fund issue, we create that with a timeline and a dollar amount, so should we wait till the final distributions are for that? Or can we augment it?
We know how much money is gonna come, because that was listed in the letter from Napoli or whatever that firm is. So we can specify that amount of money, but you might also want to reserve more monies at some point. So if I recall correctly, I think you can have, I don't think that you need to put a specific amount in it. Those procedures for that.
Okay, I just didn't know about any future distributions, because I don't know what the breakout's gonna be, if it's gonna be the same percentages, that we can estimate that, or not. That's the
Yeah,
only I asked.
from the letter, they identified, I'm just gonna ballpark, $450,000 is the total amount coming to the town.
Yep.
The first tranche is like 20% of that total amount. And then I think they said 50% is gonna come later on, and then the rest in a third check at some point. I'm not sure about the overall timing, but we know how much money is coming to the town, so we can identify the amount. We know exactly what the amounts will be.
Should we be identifying the amount that's gonna be used in each district?
So I
Because that's how it's allocated.
was there a consolidation of the water districts? So it's technically all one water districts. Now, just the way that you folks presumably identify the wells is in reference to districts at some point. But like technically, it's all just one water district.
Oh, all right, I understand.
So then we don't have to
That
break it up
simplifies it.
into
Yeah, we
each well.
don't have to. I mean,
We
you
can
could.
use it to try to figure out how we're gonna get water over.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be simpler to just do
Okay.
one.
Well, that makes it easier then.
It does absolutely simplify it in my mind. We're not talking about 6 different districts, it's one.
Yep.
We already have a capital improvement fund for the water, so
So
that was
wouldn't
already
that be the place to
established
put it
back
then?
No,
2000.
not if we
That's-
decide that it's specifically for the PFAS remediation.
Yeah, I mean, you could not create a specific reserve for PFAS remediation, but put it in the
No.
capital reserve for the district if you want. But
No, I agree with Gene now that you said it that way.
Right.
It should be right for that particular item.
Okay.
I agree with that. Gentlemen?
Yep, that's
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anything else on that?
I have a couple future board topics. We can do it now, or we can do it at future topics time.
Well, what is your future list? We'll talk about it later.
We already talked about the openings in the public works, so we have a plan for there. We had some issues in the second floor, like the one with the court, with some of the ballasts were burning up. We may want to look into replacing the lights on the second floor with LED. We only budgeted the first floor this go around, so we can put it on our radar to do the second floor when we discuss fund balance. Lastly, the water study, we need to schedule a public hearing. Alex?
B&L asked that we present that to you just verbally tonight. The next meeting, we will have all the documents in, or they will have all the documents in for the water study to be able to set the public hearing for that for August 6th, is what they're.
So you're asking to be on the next meeting's agenda?
We'll be on the next meeting with their info and probably them here.
I would assume.
And we'll be taking care of the public hearing on August 6th.
Okay.
If that works out.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Anything else, gentlemen?
At the wastewater treatment plant, I forwarded an email to everybody from B&L and Cabricki. We're running to an issue where pumping out of tank 3, which needs to be dropped, we're running into a severe issue with rags and a lot of grit that, after having several discussions with Camden Group and B&L, it's something that we don't want to put through our new digester. We don't want to just pump it from tank 3 to tank 1 or to tank 2, because either way we're going to have to tackle that at some point. We should really look at doing that change order that they'll submit to us for pumping the rest of the sludge out of tank 3. They will provide me with all the documentation. They asked me to get it on this agenda to talk to you guys about it so we can start moving forward with this.
I'm concerned that that's just a Band-Aid. I don't know what, it's gonna continue to happen, so is that an operation that's just gonna, every time something comes up, we're gonna get it? I need to know what the plan is and what the options are to correct it.
Well, the options, if we pump it out, we correct that with tank 3.
I understand. I'm not trying to get into the discussion tonight because there's not a lot of information there. The board, we can talk about whatever it is, but that seems to be just a Band-Aid, and I want a solution.
Is the buildup in the tank 3 residual over years of this?
Over years, yes. The failed bar screen that we had, all the rags are distributed out into the 3 tanks.
Because the system was failing, so it didn't screen it.
Hence why we're doing part of the project. So we're gonna find that probably in tank 2 and tank 1 as well. We don't know until we drop the tanks.
But once the new system is running properly, it wouldn't be an ongoing thing because the screens would catch it, correct?
Correct.
But why couldn't you pump that across the screens?
Right.
The bar screens at some point failed.
I understand.
No,
that,
but
but
why-
you took the old tanks, why couldn't you go across the bar screens and catch the rags?
Because we don't have the bar screens currently and they gotta get the tank down.
So
The grit system, everything's not removing all these rags.
It's not there currently to run through.
Right.
But if we clean this tank out,
Yep.
is it gonna fill back up?
Right.
No, they're gonna do the work in the tank and do everything there. Then that should remediate that tank. Then we
That
have
tank won't go back online until all the other systems are in
We
place?
won't go back online until all the other systems are in place where they're gonna start pushing the water to that one, once some of these issues are addressed.
Okay, this is tank 3.
This is tank 3. We still have
Okay.
tank 2 and tank 1.
So if you got tank 3 up and running, and we pumped that one out, and you had the bar screens in there, could you pump any residual from tanks 1 and 2 across the bar screens into tank 3?
If the bar screen was in place, yes.
Can
Why-
you get
why
the bars?
wouldn't it? Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be in place?
It has to be in place
you
if
get it
it's
in
back
place?
online.
Right, other than that, to Gene's point, we're just gonna keep pumping tanks.
The grit removal system currently is not running properly, which is long enough to go by. The tank 3 won't go back online from what I'm understanding until all that system is in place. Tank 3 is gonna be down for probably 6 months.
But I know what you're getting at.
Yeah,
I
so.
know what you're getting at.
Right, but why wouldn't I only pump one tank? Even if it's down for 6 months, I mean, right now,
Because we have to keep operating the plant, so we can't drop all 3 tanks at the same time.
I understand that, but you have 2 tanks that are currently running, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if you pump this one tank out, and
Fix
you
it.
get this one back online before you tank the other 2 tanks down, Why would we have to pump tanks 1 and 2?
It's not gonna go back online, from my understanding, until stuff is in place.
Okay, but but you just said it's gotta be in place before you can take the other 2 tanks down.
Why couldn't we use the third tank? If you pump that down, clean it out.
And you got everything in place.
Yep.
Everything was put in place.
Then we can use the third tank. The third tank is going to be then put back online.
I know, but when you take tanks 1 and 2 down, why would we have to pump them out?
We may not have to. We don't know until we get there. I know what you're saying. It's not a guarantee that we have to pump them. No, I fully understand what you're saying. If that's in place, we can send it back through the plant.
Right.
Filter everything out and do it, yes.
And what you're saying now, not to put words in your mouth, you're saying on tank 3, you don't have that opportunity to run that across the bar screen to catch those rags.
Correct.
Basically, all you're doing is dumping the rags into another tank.
Just gonna rotate it from tank 3 to tank 2 to tank 1, yes.
Right.
Or press it out, which we don't want that in our compost.
'Cause then you'd have trouble getting rid of your compost.
Yes.
But if you pressed it out, and you knew you were gonna press it out over a period of time, you would only have a certain amount of, let's say, more solid waste to get rid of.
We're struggling just to even pump it out. It just keeps clogging every pump that we put down in there. So they can't even get
So
it.
you can't even get it to the press.
Can hardly even get it out of there. I mean, we're pulling the pump every 2 hours, 3 hours to pull the rags out of the pump.
Cause that's years of buildup.
That's just years of buildup, yeah.
That contaminated component would have to go to the landfill.
No, I understand that. I was just looking at maybe the difference of reducing the weight, because I think you were talking about 128 ton.
That was just out of tank 3, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. If they could pump it out, they would. We were trying. It's just not working.
And 128 ton is a guesstimate.
Correct. Correct.
So is it's 10 dump trucks that you're gonna get out of there?
They're gonna, I would assume, vac truck it out, then
Yeah,
haul out the
that's-
vac truck?
Yeah, so that's probably more. I was trying to, that's where I was
Well,
going, to reduce the liquid part of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at with the press.
We
Yeah.
can't even get the
Right,
liquid
but he's
up.
saying you can't pump it to get it to the press to,
Can't.
Cause you have almost as much solids as you have liquid.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, well. Okay. Well,
Again, I just got this 2 days ago from B&L and I reached out to Camden. We're down there and we just can't pump any more out of there.
I think B&L's gotta do a better service to you to get stuff ahead of time on what
yeah,
this
'cause
stuff is going on.
we need more information on that for sure.
I'm not disagreeing there at all.
They're leaving you hanging.
What's our time urgency on this? Can I wait for it to be put on the next agenda?
Greg, are there?
You guys received, I reported the email that I have. Yeah, it's an urgency that we need to get that tank 3 down. It's slowing down Kabricki from doing the work in tank 3.
So,
But why is this a town board issue right now? You've got contingency money, you've got allowances, you've got all this issues that are there in the project.
Because it's more than I'm allowed or Mike's allowed to approve.
What,
You said it's gonna be around 50,000 bucks?
Yeah, we can only approve 35,000.
Right.
well, where's the paperwork, where's the letter from B&L, where's the proposal and all the other stuff that we're supposed to be reacting on?
They didn't, this is all I've received. They
I-
asked me to touch base with you, that they don't
Alright,
want
so
to slow the project down. We're gonna get it, the change order, it's just they wanted to not stop the project from moving forward.
And they need to do a
we
more
gotta get better,
timely job.
timeliness is important.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm
Well,
just-
You can tell them that I said it, if they got a problem, they can call me about it. I'm not gonna approve anything that the engineer's supposed to be recommending, and we're getting the hearsay from you and in emails that we're getting forwarded.
I'm not disagreeing.
You're dealing with Leeson on that?
Mm-hmm.
We'll get a call in, both
Yep.
of us will get a call into her
Yep.
tomorrow. This is unacceptable.
But where we're at,
Right.
talking about another 2 weeks is gonna be
There'll be
A
probably
problem.
a change order, I would assume, for lengthening out the project, I would assume.
An extension of time.
Extension of time, yeah. Because if they have to wait multiple weeks before they can, I mean, in the meantime, I'm still gonna try to pump. I mean, that's all I can do, is just
Let
keep
me-
trying.
Let me ask you this, Greg, is there any type of screen on tank 1 and 2 now that would catch some of these rags if it were coming into the system?
There's a screen, yes, but it's just not catching everything.
Right. I'm just wondering if
Plus,
there's
you're having
if-
a hard time even getting it to the, even if you set
Oh,
up
I
a
understand
temporary
that, but
screen.
I'm wondering if there's an opportunity, instead of trucking this out and disposing of it, what if you took the vac truck, because I know you can't pump it out of the tank, clean the tank out, and
That's-
tried to run it through tank 2?
Still a fee, because we don't have a vac truck.
I understand that, but the fee might be less than 50,
True. Because you're not hauling it.
or you're not hauling it, you're not disposing of it. We're managing it within our own facility.
I can pose all those questions to the engineers.
Well, I'll leave that up to you and B&L to come up with the recommendations, because I agree with Gene that, please just bring all that information to us with a recommendation.
I understand.
But if we get all this information from B&L 2 weeks from now, but Gene, are you saying that if something pops up, he has the discretion to spend a certain amount of his funds just to make things continue, or everything has to
We
come
do
back
have
to the
a-
board
I-
before?
He does.
We have a dollar amount that we can go with, yes.
Okay, I'm
This has
happy,
exceeded it, that's why I quickly threw it in front of you.
but we're not really sure on the figures for sure.
No, no.
Say-
Other
Well,
than
with
that's-
some of the other options, to your
Say it
point,
came to
Dave.
30,000 instead of 50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
he
hit your
might,
limit.
he can
Yes.
just take care of it.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Kevin?
I concur. Let's go.
Gene?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Rick, move on, you know what you're gonna do?
Please.
And-
Huh?
Yes, please.
Okay, we will, all right.
And I'd like to see you write a letter to Camden, or to B&L, and tell them that under no circumstances are you allowed to bring to the board, again, half information or hearsay. And if a change order is being presented, I want the document and the supporting documents for the town board for our discussion. Full documentation.
Okay.
All right. You good, Greg?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're gonna move on to engineers report.
No, ordinance.
Oh, ordinance report, I'm sorry. Thank you. Any questions?
I got none.
I had none.
I've none.
Okay.
The only one I have is, I thought we had a discussion about redacting personal information.
Yes, and they are working with the software company on trying to write that program.
Okay.
And as far as I know, and please tell me if it's wrong. Yep, but everything I'm looking at is on the confidential side, so I don't know what's on.
Mine too, but
Okay.
I knew that we had talked about redacting that, so.
And I know that Diane and
Thank
Renee
you.
have both told me that they are still working on that.
Okay.
Anything else? What?
And I wasn't trying to pick on the code enforcement officer. No, and I'm glad you cleared that up. I was just merely pointing out that we had some unfortunate circumstances that, call it slip through the cracks, if you will, but, yeah. And- Thank you, Ruth. Appreciate that.
We good? We move on? Good?
Good?
I'm good.
Engineering report.
Okay, I had a couple things come up, so I asked Jody to give me a line. Codes, planning, zoning, just the Bodick rezone while we talked about it for a second. I did put my planning board letter in, officially made sure Jody had it in this round for you guys. I know it was missed last time. Highway drainage, Joy asked me to comment on easements, or Darren did. We got the Martino easement today. Nate's working on filing that one. The Cameras easement should be within a week also. So they are moving ahead easement-wise, and Joy and I got an updated schedule. We're working with Dishes as of yesterday to make sure that we're adjusting our schedule through, I believe we're going to do through June of next year unless they do a blanket 1 year for everyone. We know that we're going to finish in the fall and probably won't have grass growth until spring. So we know we need an extension with that, but we'll update you more on that hazard mitigation grant program project on Wallace at a later meeting. The big piece that I had to talk about, Mari, our grant writer, we got a resolution up for tonight based on 2 weeks ago. She's asked me to make sure that I present to you the draft resolution that we are pursuing the grant for the CSC program. That's the Climate Smart Communities Grant Program. It does have one line in there. It wants to know what we're going to do for a cost. Nate has indicated that one of his prior clients was around $100,000. I think initially we were thinking of 150, so we'll have to break out some numbers. I don't know if we have to do that tonight for the draft, so it's ready in 2 weeks for you. We're just asking that we can get the resolution in 2 weeks. The other piece of this is a model resolution. This is something that is a resolution that we want to be a climate smart communities and have a climate smart community pledge. You can do this or not. It does rank us higher if we have done this. In order to be a climate smart community, you have to do this resolution and pledge. And then there are 10 facets to this that they do involve some work over the next time period in order to achieve this. I don't know if you want me to go over any of it this evening or when we actually go through the formal thing in 2 weeks. This was just a precursor to what we're coming in with in 2 weeks for 2 resolutions.
I'm fine with going over it later.
We can have it filled in for you and ready.
You guys good with that?
Yes. You had said that the letter was included in the documentation, and I don't see it in your report.
It was put in
I think it's up top.
6-1.
Yeah.
It's the very last item on 6-1.
That's six.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? Alex?
Not for me. That's it for me.
Oh, I didn't know if you were getting ready to say something. I'm sorry.
Nope. I think Greg covered the other item, the
Okay.
water study.
Any questions for Alex?
Nope.
Mr. Dave, Mr.
No.
J?
I'm okay.
I have nothing.
Okay.
I'm
Gonna
good.
We're gonna move on to attorney's report.
Yep. First, I'm going to apologize to Gene for not having included a outline of a report in time for the agenda. I was a little tied up last week, and that one slipped my mind. But I've made a calendar memo to myself in my new email system, because I'm now not with Coughlin and Gerhardt anymore, to get that to Jody the Thursday by the agenda deadline. That'll be easier, I'm assuming, because I'm planning on being here Thursday mornings for at least a couple of hours to be available to department heads who might need to sit down and chat about whatever that is that they may be there putting forward for an agenda if they want to talk about it.
Okay.
So then, in the last couple weeks, reviewed and revised the building code consultant RFQ. Gene, I did see that. I looked back and did see that email. I hadn't realized. I thought you were going to email me a blurb. I see you, I think, redid a lot of it, which was fine. I reviewed it just this afternoon, sent it around. I had a couple minor tweaks to it, but it looks pretty good to go. So you folks will probably want on a future board topic just bringing that back to you for formal discussion on an agenda at some point. Drafted the resolutions for tonight. I worked on an intermunicipal agreement for dog patrol reciprocity with the town of Maine. That was discussed a little bit ago, a couple meetings back. Currently working with the town of Maine's attorney to just get a draft in a form that looks good to both of us. We should be pretty close to that, so I'll be bringing that up at some point in the future and including a copy of that on the agenda in my attorney report at some point. I've reviewed the appearance ticket information complaint forms with the code officer, and I'm going to have a meeting probably July 21st with Doug and Randy. They just want to sit down and go over the court process, because it's been a while since the town's done anything, but it looks like things might be moving in the code office relating to complaints. It's been talked about getting easements for the hazard mitigation projects, so we're well on the way with that. The highway grievance regarding the issue needs to be brought up to a stage 3 town board hearing. So they requested that a while ago. They received the information from the town. Now it needs to, now they need to present to the town board, and they're asking that occur at the next meeting.
At the next meeting?
Yeah. So that's July 23rd. Let's see, Barton and LaJudas, it was mentioned, has the WIA grant application stuff. I don't recall if Alex outlined the specific dates when things need to be done. This was in an email, I think, to the town board. So Adam, this is stuff that, well, if the town board agrees on having all this stuff occur, their outline was public hearing would be, you would call for the public hearing at your meeting on July 23rd. So a resolution to call for the public hearing. You would then have your public hearing on August 6th, when you would also review seeker parts 2 and 3 and have a seeker resolution and a bond resolution. So bond counsel also needs to be engaged on this particular matter, and they should actually be engaged at your July 23rd meeting. I can get a proposal from your normal bond counsel, Hawkins Delafield, for you to approve that at the July 23rd meeting. Then August 6th meeting, you pass and adopt everything, and also authorize the WIA submission. And then the WIA submission would actually occur on or before September 12th, which is apparently the deadline. So that's what Barton and LaJudas has proposed. I can ask them if there's any wiggle room. I think you'd probably have 2 meetings after your August 6th meeting if we needed to take some time, but I'm not sure necessarily why they have that much time between August 6th and September 23rd, other than just being careful. So that's the outline of times for those. And then the Keystone contract, it looks like it fell off the future topics list that had been on the agenda a couple weeks back, a couple meetings ago, to just go over wait, did we already do that? I know, no, we did need to still talk about it. We talked about it briefly, but then decided to have an executive session, and then I think the meeting had gone on pretty late, and we didn't end up talking about that. So we just need to add an opportunity to discuss the Keystone red lines and just give me input as to what you want to do on the few remaining items.
I don't remember anything being outstanding on that.
I don't either.
Okay, well, yeah, it's just I had in my head that there was red lines, there was.
There was.
There was
Yeah,
red lines.
did you,
but
you guys were all
I
okay
didn't
with it?
Yeah.
Because I thought that we'd had an executive session to talk about it, and there was like a couple other executive session topics that evening. I'll look back at the draft.
Well, I know that we didn't make any decision in there.
No.
But there was nothing substantive in the
But I
red
actually
lines.
thought we talked about that here. We all
Yeah.
said that the red lines, we didn't see any problems with it.
Okay. All right, I just had it.
We probably didn't make a motion or anything, but,
So if.
Nope, so where it is just to do the resolution with the red lines.
Okay, so
yeah.
I'll do that, prepare that resolution for your meeting next, July 23rd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be quick.
I'm okay with that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Jay?
Yes.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, we're gonna move on to supervisor's report. You guys can see the reports. Miss Lori wanted me to ask you if the board cared to do a mid-season budget adjustment. There was only 2 items in contractual. The budget was for 15,000, and we're at 17,123.91, so a couple thousand over on that. And then in the water department, we were over by 500. We had a budget of 80,000 for admin contract water studies. That was 80,000. We went over by, it's 85,697. So do you guys want to do an mid-year budget adjustment, or let her just keep rolling that? Gene, you were the one that talked last year about doing.
Yeah, we had, when this came up last year, we had decided that the board policy was that there was gonna be no expenses over a line without doing a budget adjustment first. So those are not a mid-year, those are a monthly issue that we've gotta do.
She just gave me this note, so I will tell her that the process is that how do you want that handled?
That we can't exceed the budget line item without a line item adjustment
Then
first.
she's gonna have to then we're gonna have to do that.
Right.
Those were the only 2. So we're doing good in one respect.
Except we've already expensed. And that's what I wanna make sure we're not doing.
Right, that's backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Before she cuts that $2,000 check to go from 15 to 17.
Her note that she gave me, I'm not sure she's cut the check yet. She's asking, so.
Oh, so it's not,
And I will confirm.
over at
Yep.
this point?
Yep. I had some things I had to take care of today, but she gave me the notes. I will confirm that in the morning. If she hasn't paid it, I believe she hasn't paid it yet. She wants to know what you want to do. If she's paid it, then I'll have to explain to her not to do that again.
Yep.
Right.
Well, what do we have to do legally to make that change in the budget? Is
Well,
that
yeah,
a
so
re-
like a budget modification resolution
Right.
identifies where you're taking the money from and where you're putting it to. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, I've got clients that they don't even ask me to put anything together. They do their own motions because they know all the account numbers they need to identify as line items.
So I'll have her confirm, send an email out to the whole board explaining the whole thing and where she's at.
Okay, but I just wanna see the resolution next meeting of what's getting moved from what line item to the next.
Okay.
And approve a resolution.
Okay. Okay. The other thing I have, Nate, you might be able to help us. What do we have to do with Catherine being, isn't it a September date coming up where we have to appoint her the tax assessor? Isn't that coming up?
Yes, that's right. There was something that we saw recently about that. Every assessor's
Every
term ends, I think, September 30th.
September something. So we have to, I'm just trying to put that on your radar. We're gonna have to make a decision what we're gonna do there. Cause it's July and that's coming up. So Catherine had brought that to my attention.
Yep.
So that should be a future topic. To talk about that. It's a 6-year, isn't it? I believe it's six.
I think 6
I think it's 6 years. So I'd like to get that on a future topic. And that's all I got. Any questions?
I don't have any.
No, I'm good.
I don't.
Okay. So we're gonna move on to resolutions. Mr. Nate.
Yeah. Second. Resolution 9.1, approving abstract number 14.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
None.
None.
Mr. Clark?
Mr. Warden?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Aye.
Resolution 9.2, authorizing grant services for the WQIP grant. This is actually technically authorizing additional grant writing services for it.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
None.
None.
Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Warden?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Aye.
Resolution 3, authorizing grant writing services for the CSC grant, which I believe, Alex, you referenced in your engineering report.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
None.
None.
Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Warden?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Aye.
Resolution 9.4, authorizing Exit 6 water main project cost increase and related change order.
So move.
I'll second it. Discussion?
None.
None.
I have none.
Mr. Jean?
None.
Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Warden?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Aye.
I feel I should excuse myself from the next one.
Well, read it.
Mike,
Mike, you can.
you should read it.
Oh, I get The town board of the town of Shenango duly, no,
You don't
that's
have,
not
you,
right.
you don't have to read the whole thing, you can just summarize like I do.
Really?
Read the top line.
No, come on.
Resolution
Read it
authorizing
all.
legal services agreement with NDV Law PLLC.
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
None.
Yes, could we stipulate that the resolution for the contract is for the remaining year?
Oh, yes.
That's what the services agreement does say.
We're,
But we only got 4 words out of the resolution. I just want to make
Oh.
sure they're clear on what the resolution is for.
I know my time's limited, Gene.
yeah, okay.
We got 14 minutes.
December's coming
I
quick.
get it.
Any more discussion?
I have none.
You good?
Yep.
Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Warden?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Aye. All right, we're gonna move on to future topics, board topics. I wanna get the Union Highway stuff in, right, Nate? For the,
Well, no, we don't need to talk about the highway right now, that's gonna be next meeting.
No, for future topics.
for future
wait,
topics.
Just,
Sorry.
this is not an issue with the resolution, but I have an issue, a question about the agenda that's on with 9.5. There are 2 sections of the resolution for Nate, and the resolution authorizing the legal services, and that brings up the resolution for me. When I select the agreement, it brings up the resolution again. So, will you guys check?
What?
I
Okay.
don't have that.
I don't have that
I
either.
don't have that at all. And I'm
Yeah, I don't-
signed in
I- yeah, I
under
am too.
confidentiality.
I'm on the confidential side too.
You actually have the agreement?
No, I
No,
have.
that's what he's saying.
No,
It's not,
there are 2 tabs.
there's 2
One
tabs,
says
but there's only
resolution,
one that
and-
opens.
and when
But
I
only one opens, I get what you're saying, yes.
No, but the second one is actually a link, and it's supposed to be to his agreement, but it's to the resolution again.
Right, it's not to the agreement.
I don't have access
No,
to that.
no,
Oh, it's, yeah. It says, yeah, right.
so Miss Jody should have put the agreement in there on
On the
the
first
first
one.
line.
No,
No,
the agreement with NDB Law, that hyperlink should have opened the agreement,
to the agreement.
and it opened up the resolution again.
Okay. I'll make a note to tell her that.
Do you know
Both of my line items say resolution.
Yeah, mine do too.
Mine do too.
Mine says resolution authorizing legal services.
Agreement.
Yeah, they both say the
They
same
both say
thing,
the
but
exact
only one
same thing.
opens. Yeah, mine both say the same thing.
It's 2 separate hyperlinks.
I only have one link.
I only
I
have
only
one.
link. It's so screwed up.
They're on the,
Well,
Right.
you're looking at the PDF.
Right. What are you looking
You're
at?
on HTML.
I'm on the HTML. I'm on the live feed document.
Oh,
You're the only.
And
You're-
but well,
Yeah,
This is
I'm
part
not.
of why
I know-
we're
I
all
know.
supposed to be working off the same thing.
I just went to I just naturally go to the PDF.
So there's,
4 of us are on the PDF.
4 of you are wrong.
Is that in the policy?
No,
Oh, my God.
no. No, it's not.
Okay.
All right.
But I agree
Mine-
with you, the contract should have
there's-
been there.
On the hyperlink, it's still the same for me. I just opened it up. I just went to that.
And it's the same resolution.
They're both the same.
Yes.
That's
That's
what
my
it- what it's-
comment.
what it's
That's
saying.
your
But what I'm
point.
saying is the agreement's not in there, and I only have one hyperlink there.
Alright.
I'm just saying mine didn't open.
Okay.
So hopefully,
you got 9
me
minutes.
being here Thursday
Got it.
mornings might
Yep.
help some of this.
Huh?
Hopefully me being
Yes.
here Thursday mornings.
I got your desk and everything already.
Oh, boy.
Future topics.
It's got shackles.
Yeah.
Future topics, we want to put the Union Highway on there. There was something else.
Bond resolution.
The
being-
bond resolution, yeah.
It's scheduling the public hearing.
Scheduling, it's not the bond resolution.
Yeah, scheduling the public hearing for August 6th. And it's on the, it's the public interest order that you're doing. So it's a district improvement, you have to do a public interest order. It requires a public hearing. That will encompass environmental review, bond resolution, all that stuff.
And we also, on the next meeting, want to put the findings of the code department.
Findings of the what?
Well, the interview for the code department, right? I thought you guys,
Yes.
said we were gonna do that by the next
Yes.
meeting.
The recommendation from the.
Recommendation, thank you. Anything else, Greg, Alex, are we missing something?
Building condition study.
Yes. The RFP.
Greg, you had a
What else we got on there?
So my,
change
my
order document or something?
Pardon?
That may need to be on there if it's over 35,000?
The change order was for the pumping. We're gonna look into something different, so.
Right,
we
but
can put that topic in there if I can get them to give you all the information.
in case you need it, I would put that placeholder in there, yes.
And Valvoline. Valvoline depends on what you guys want to go executive session to talk about that.
I don't know, we got 9 minutes. I think that we can say in public what we're gonna want.
Okay,
I thought you said to the
I
lawsuits.
thought you said-
Lawsuits.
Yeah, we just need more documentation on, because basically I mean, there was a lot of emails and correspondence about what was going on, but there was no definitive issue. There was no citation from who's gonna do what, who's responsible for it, what the DEC regulations are. That should all come from Barton LaJudas to be citing what that process is.
Okay.
Because there's 2 separate issues. GD Vincennes has to take care of what their contaminated soil was that they pulled out. But the other issue is the town has got an obligation to find that source in the underground contamination. That's gotta go back to the source. So that's not a simple issue, and I need from Barton LaJudas a complete report on what it is before we can really even discuss anything, and then Alex has gotta review it, and Nate's gotta look at it from,
The
a
legal
legal issue
perspective.
on
That saves an
responsibility.
executive session.
yep, okay.
Done.
You guys
Yeah,
know what you
right?
gotta do?
100%, yes.
You 3, it's all over here. What's that, Alex?
As an engineer, you better not say that out loud.
Can I auger my piles instead of doing 8 tons?
You can't avoid it. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't unsee it.
Is that an integral part of the whole system? I mean, does it,
Unfortunately, we've got, to steal a phrase from Gene, we gotta run this one to ground.
It's like a spill.
Yep.
That's probably fine.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
The code consultant RFQ. Nate's got his review done, you said you
You wanna put
disseminated,
that on-
or you?
Yeah, I sent it earlier this afternoon.
Okay.
I think it's been basically final form. It's just if you, however you guys want to authorize pushing it out.
Is it gonna be, yeah, just when do you wanna put it on the agenda?
Why can't we do it the next meeting?
Put it on.
You good with that?
I was good when I sent it out,
You got everything that
so.
you were gonna
Yeah.
need?
Yeah, it's just the draft, so.
Right. You guys good with that?
Yes.
Got it, Mr. Clerk? Okay.
Can you, when you do can you draft a resolution for us to put it
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over the list of resolutions, because I got like 8 of them.
Okay.
That we're doing at the next meeting, which is fine.
I would like to have a conversation about our microphones and our sound system.
Yeah. No, when do you wanna do that?
At next meeting, and
Okay. What information's gonna be needed for that conversation? Or are you just gonna start the
I'm
conversation?
gonna start the conversation,
Okay.
but it's not reasonable for me to think that the public has to put their lips on the microphone
No, I
to be
agree.
able to be heard.
I agree.
So at least that's my jumping off point.
I think we paid a lot of money for the system. I'm not pleased with it at all.
We cannot turn it up very loud either without feedback kicking in, and that's very
Yeah,
annoying.
But it's
And we've
indication of a problem.
Yeah, and we've experienced that, and I know that you've been back there tweaking it, so.
Yep, so we'll put that on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay.
Start that conversation. I'd love to have it.
Okay.
Do we need to discuss the cameras?
Yep. At the next meeting, on the agenda?
I'm fine with putting that off 2 weeks. but
2 meetings, you mean, or 2 weeks?
I apologize.
Okay.
Two meetings. But I definitely would like to have the conversation.
All right, so we'll
It's a
put that,
safety issue, correct? August 6th?
August 6th?
I don't know that, or
Okay.
yes or not. I'm not saying it's not, I don't know that.
Can you wait till August 6th, or you want to get it on the next agenda?
Oh,
I don't know anything about it. I mean, it
Yeah.
was brought up, so.
It was
I'm-
brought up, so
so
we'll have that discussion.
Okay, it's fine.
I'm just asking if it's a
Yeah.
safety issue.
What's the agenda for next meeting look like as far as,
Mr. Clerk, could you read back what we got for the next agenda,
Oh,
next
goodness.
meeting?
I just see that as a half an hour or so, 15, 20 minutes anyway.
It's getting pretty loaded. Building conditions study, RFP, we have a lot of resolutions, time clocks resolution, building conditions study resolution, no objections letter resolution, Keystone contract resolution, code department recommendation, code consultant RFQ resolution, sound system discussion, Smith Brothers resolution, water study, on public hearing scheduling, the Union Highway grievance.
How long do you think that's gonna take?
And I wanted to bring
The
up
highway grievance?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what you guys want to do.
I don't know, it sounds like we got time, because those were
Those- a lot of those are all resolutions.
Those are resolutions, yeah.
Yeah.
Throw it on there.
Throw it on there. Oh, thank you, David. Yes. Miss Jody sent you guys out stuff from, the 2 laptops that are out from Pyramid and trying to upgrade them. She sent you guys out the stuff. Do you guys wanna do that, or
On the agenda,
put it on the agenda?
unless it's in the budget for them.
Next meeting?
Sure.
She need them right away, or they're like next week, or?
No,
I
she's
don't know
just,
that.
no, I don't think it's that critical. She's
I
just
don't
saying,
think so.
If the departments have in their budget, just move forward with it.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think
fine.
that came up with the Windows 11 update. That's all.
No,
But if it's
still, I-
budgeted, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, if there's money there, yeah,
Okay, just checking.
I don't wanna keep stepping on the toes of the
Yeah.
department heads and
Perfect.
having them rely on us to make every decision for them.
Right, if they needed more money or something, that's a different story.
That's fine.
But if it's in the budget.
It'll come out of their lines.
Yep,
She's just asking.
yep, good,
Everyone wants their marching orders.
go.
We
I'd
done?
like to give
Good?
them ones.
I had,
Yes, sir.
did we want to put the diligent software implementation for the next meeting?
The what?
Diligent software implementation.
I passed out to you guys the information on that, and if you guys wanna have a conversation about it, I'm absolutely fine with doing that. But it's probably more of a demonstration kinda issue than it is a conversation.
Can we kick it to the 7th then, of
I-
August?
Yes, but I just wanted, it is important that I think that we are utilizing the software that we're paying for, and we're not.
Okay.
I did get your email. All the videos.
You guys all got it, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Wait till the 7th, or you want to do it next meeting?
Put it on the 7th, I don't think you
So,
guys.
yeah, I don't wanna
Yeah,
load it up.
Okay. All right, anything else? All right. What? I thought you said
August
something.
6th, right? Next, yeah.
Pardon?
Just email B&L.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna move on, number 11, open forum. Guests shall speak in orderly fashion, are limited to remarks of 5 time minutes or less. Speakers shall deliver their comments or concerns in a civil tone without the use of profanity, personal attacks, or other disruptive behavior. The speaker shall not be interrupted except in a matter of emergency. Would anyone like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
It's turned off again. Is it on? Oh, okay. Hello again. I promise I'll make it quick. It's not really about the rezone, but it did bring up this issue. I asked at the town hall, and it was suggested that I bring it up to you, although I don't know if this is a town board issue or a planning board issue or a zoning issue. It seems like a lot of people referenced the comprehensive plan when they were making their arguments or, talking about issues that they had. One of the things that they keep saying is, this is part of the comprehensive plan, but that was started in 1988 according to the website, and the last update was, I think, 2016, which is almost 10 years ago by now. I think we really need to start looking at, and I know the planning board is looking into making a whole new comprehensive plan, and looking into contractors to start to hire to sort of give them ideas or lay it out for them. But I think what we're kind of missing is, and I brought it up at the last town board meeting, is that nobody has really asked the residents of the town how they feel about the plan and what they want out of their town, because I think, over 30 years ago, that the people who came up with the plan were looking at a town that is a lot different from what we have today. I don't think a lot of the stuff that they put on there is relevant anymore. I really don't think that things that they plan to zone for are relevant anymore. I think we need to look into asking people what they want and what they need. I mean, it was suggested that a lot of the contractors are attorneys, which is a great thing, but I would be looking into like engineers and things for like the water runoff and water retention and sewage issues and stuff like that. Like people to look at the traffic use in the area. Like look how busy Front Street is now compared to maybe, again, 30 years ago. What did it look like to the people making that plan? We had a survey or questionnaire sent out, again, over 10 years ago, almost. And I think people, I read it online. People say, here's what we want and what we don't want. But again, so much time has passed, like what do we want now? I think I don't know whether it's an issue that you guys can bring up or if it's one of the other boards, but I really do think somebody needs to come up with a new survey to send out to everybody. Again, just one letter per person, to say, what do you want? What do you need? Do you need more commercial? Do you need, more access to housing? Do we need both? I think there's a real argument to be made that we need to start filling in the gaps down Front Street, I think we need to look at what's not being used and going, okay, it's not being used for the purpose it was, when it was filled, and nobody's filling it, so maybe it can be used for something else. Like, again, if people are looking at empty plots of land and going, they're vacant, they're unused, we need to think of a new use for them. But it doesn't have to be the same thing that was come up with, a few years before I was even born. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I think people need to go, oh yeah, the old survey I said, I don't want to see any more used car lots, any more gas stations. The Northgate Plaza is a mess, People said that, again, 10 years ago. They're still saying it now. Nobody wants more car lots, more gas stations, more parking lots just up and down the street. People who have agricultural land who want to make more housing on it need to rezone their houses, It's like, if each area got to say what they wanted, if people got to say, here's what we want, we could present it to the planning board and say, here's what we want, can you, submit this to the person coming up with the new plan? Can you come in and bring experts, environmental experts, and say, that's all I'm asking for, is somebody to bring that up to whoever, deals with that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else care to speak? Yes, ma'am. Got a timer, someone? Yes. Okay.
Hi, just personal curiosity. I was playing with the agenda, and I noticed under the insurance, under crime, there are 3 specific offices of the town listed. Supervisor, account clerk, bookkeeper, and secretary to the supervisor for additional excess line of insurance for specified employees or positions. I'm just curious as to why just those 3. That's it.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Steve Heimerter, 735 Rossman Road, Bennington. I was here a couple of weeks ago during the start of the chaotic ODEC public hearing, and I'm curious of whether the room capacity has been determined where we don't have to have 118 people standing for another public hearing. That was just plain stupid. That was just unbelievable. That's all I have. And I see there's 3 postings over that. So,
They've corrected it.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Is there an executive session?
No.
Nope, we fixed that.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
They got their, you all have your chores to do.
Yep.
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Gene, did you see my email I forwarded to you about the question you had earlier? I saw everybody's email, yes. Okay, well, I sent what Leeson set the timeline when I got here, so. So if that's adequate, let me know if you want it copied and put onto town letterhead.